he running it like a horror campaign?
I think he's running it a little more straight up, but I definitely see the horror edge to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so it'll be different. I'm sure it'll be different. So
but, am I seeing what other people's screens are looking at? Is that what I'm looking here at the corner?
Yeah. So, well, and you can zoom it out too, but also just keep in mind that once you get in, every change you make is permanent to the document. You can delete it, of course. The other thing that I'll have people do is at the end, if someone could just export it to a PDF just in case we ever lost it. Because here's the other thing. This is actually an entire campaign set. And one of the other things that people don't realize is that even though this is one of the best written modules I think that they've ever done, it's also a fully fleshed out campaign setting that literally sets up a massive thing that I know about that's coming. That I'm technically under NDA about, that I'm super excited about, and so this is even bigger. That's why this has worked out great, because this is so much bigger than just that. But this could theoretically, I mean, there is so much to do here, and there's so many important things going on here. And this is the other thing I want the party to understand. This could easily take. Matter of fact, if you do everything and pacing it the way you're supposed to and going through it, Chris Perkins expects this to be a 2-year thing. However, I think most people will breeze through it in like 6 months or less. But that's what I wanted to. I mean, we're doing not only like all of it's there, but there's so much more that I had to add, given that I know what's coming. So there's a shit ton to do here, essentially. Once we start, we can, if you guys feel like it, by the way, also completely abandon it, because the one thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be concurrent things that are happening going through this, and you'll see, and it'll make way more sense after I speak about it. But as we go through, there are definitely going to be points where the party can decide, okay, we've done enough here, or whatever. So we'll see how that goes too. But yeah, I do think it'll be substantially different, but we'll see. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Yep. All right. Let's let me get this up too.
I know where to drop information to get the wide publication.
Yeah, I spent I already started this 3 weeks ago in Tailspire, so this is literally the most I think I've ever built for something, and I'm not even like 10% in, so you'll see that too. I'll give you an example. I now have an entire Icewind Dale section, but here let's.
So I assume you guys can see my cursor as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I will have to pass information of this to my other groups.
But yeah, this is where Tailspire will actually come in handy. Like there's so much to do just in the freaking towns that without a town model or whatever, it's a little trying. But okay, so.
And you built these?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy too is that that's the other unfortunate part. The module is built with this in mind, but it's super tough because players, all they give you is handouts, which are still great, but the handouts are still super zoomed out. They don't really go into the details, and there's just so much shit that happens within the towns, and it's okay because you just kind of go through it, but the locations will all matter eventually, and there are so many puzzles and stuff that are visual that it's going to help us tremendously. Like we're going to have a big edge on this too, just because it's just super tough the other way. But anyway, we're obviously not here yet. I'm just getting this ready for us. But
my memory's not so good that I know which town that is. I assume they have buildings. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's super hard to. Yeah. But yeah, and then you'll see the map is also like a lot of DMs will not use the map. It's super important to us. Because and you'll see why, but they're like this one thing that we do, because this truly starts our campaign. Well, whatever we do here is going to be the beginnings of everything that's important, and this would have happened even if we did Rise of Tiamat or the modules I wrote, even if we were in my own campaign setting, which you have a map to now, any of those, no matter where we started, that would have been that would have started officially the campaign. So it's cool that we're starting here. There'll be a lot of fun stuff. But okay, and let me play the music and see if you guys can hear it. Let's see. I even have custom music to Frostwind Dale. Let's see.
I'm correct in saying we have not leveled up, though, right?
Not yet.
You announced to prepare, but we didn't. Okay, yeah. So I got the right sheet up then.
Yep.
I'll tell you guys, take a long rest.
Okay. And while I'm getting this up, can we start the recap?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Just loading in right now.
And see if you guys can hear the music. Right now it's just wind, but
I hear the wind.
you can hear it? Awesome.
Wind, no music yet, but
Right, the wind though. And maybe fire and
that sounds like fire.
this is so good. Okay. Good.
No voices or
Right.
down or anything, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it sounds good. All right, so last week the session began with Johnny teleporting back from his meeting with the mistress, saying that our grin had been switched with Mirror Grin shortly after reading the book. We cautiously agreed to let Johnny take the book into his scepter so that the mistress could reverse the effects it had on Grin and return him to us. It was in this instant the book awoke Mirror Grin, and Eyes alerted us as he tried to make a dash towards Johnny, but was banished in an instant. Johnny pulled the book into the scepter, but not before we had caused a huge scene outside the temple, as Darn prepared to arcane lock and consecrate the building behind us. We quickly headed back to the Cutlass, and Eyes saw two captains talking about finding and apprehending us. We made a break to the Mirror Bar district, across the city, where the Eyes Black Trading Company had a safe room. Eyes then doubled back around the back of the hotel to retrieve Henri's parents and meet us across the city. We made it to the safe room undetected after handing out a few ball bearings, gold, tinder boxes, and Eyes quickly was in tow with both of Henri's parents. The safe room was a magically concealed room, safe from scrying, set up by the Eyes Black Trading Company, and left it untouched for decades. The room was only 8 by 8 and let us magically scry far above the Mirror Bar district, while also supplying the party food for about 20 days. We took a long rest while Eyes slipped out to investigate the whereabouts of the Silver Bell, the enemy trading group that snuffed out the remaining members of Eyes' company. During this time, Grin also swapped back to his original self, and he said the other party members were plotting deep within Waterdeep. An evil brother had modified himself.
I lost you.
Yeah, I lost you too, Kino.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Also, good to see you swapping your windows with the 10-town stuff.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks.
I can only assume.
I don't know why it does that. I guess it's this. Let's see. You guys can still see my desktop?
Yep.
All right. Sorry.
I'm assuming Evil Abel has hacked the information dissemination about brother.
Yeah. I'm going to get rid of it permanently, I think. Let's see. Yeah, that's
What
it.
are you getting rid of?
I see. Okay, cool. All right. You guys should see the stream again.
Mhm.
Got it.
Still don't hear Kiona though. But...
Yeah, Tyler, you're just gone.
The music is also gone too.
No, I turned the music off. Yeah, we'll get to it later. It's weird though. I went back to Discord Tyler, your thing's not green either, so I think you might be having internet problems.
I'll text them.
It's
Yep.
green on mine.
Oh
Oh.
yeah, he just got kicked. So
Disappeared. There we go.
yeah, it must be internet issues. So, well, it is super icy out. I hope for Tyler's sake that he didn't lose power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How's the weather for everybody else? It stopped snowing, so that's good. It doesn't look like it's too bad.
It looks like we got like another half inch or so.
Yeah.
It's 35 degrees in North Dakota with no snow.
Oh, yeah.
It is terrifying to see the weather like this right now. Normally we're like buried in 2 feet of snow and planes are grounded and nobody can leave or go anywhere. Highways are shut down, but we've had a very dull winter so far.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's yesterday was a couple days ago for us was pretty bad snow-wise.
I mean, we still get pretty well protected by the sound in the ocean. So
Yeah. Any news from Tyler, brother?
He hasn't texted me back yet.
Oh, weird. Well, let's give him a couple minutes. Yeah, hope everything's okay. No, I'm not looking at it. Let's see. I can though. Oh, weird. How does that work? Man, this thing is so crazy. Oh, wow. Awesome. That's impressive for like, because this thing is like, basically MS Paint. That's impressive.
Lavender art supplies.
Yeah.
have you done much digital drawing and artwork?
Isn't it completely digital?
But you're used to drawing on a tablet or something anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cool thing too, guys, I did notice it. I mean, on mine, it's always going to be a little faster because I have the original, but it did upload. But if it does get blurry for whatever reason, you really can zoom in like all the way. You just have to let it catch up. It's very, very detailed. The thing we're using. All right. Cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah, his Wi-Fi. There he is.
Awesome.
I
Hey,
have no
Tyler.
idea what happened. My Wi-Fi completely went out. I had to restart everything.
No worries. No worries. Yep.
What
Yeah, we pause. We pause so you can get back in.
was because it showed I was in the party for the entire recap, and then like as soon as I finished it, everything shut down. So what was the last thing you guys heard?
You were talking about Brothers Dragon Form.
Yep.
Okay. So yes. Honor experienced the sessions with the group inside the tomb and was violently shunted back into reality, causing a massive amount of psychic damage, immediately knocking her unconscious. Brother healed her, and she awoke with a golden pseudo dragon at her feet and the Professor Orb in her pack. Henri quickly calmed the pseudo dragon down and gave it a few powerful magic items to help it bond to her. The pseudo dragon was thrilled to see how powerful everyone in the group was, and accepted Henri's gifts and shared with it its true sight. Kino also asked some questions to sort of answering, and Henri used Identify on Kino's recently acquired Tomb of Draconic Devils, and Eyes used the device built into the safe room to get a bird's eye view on the Mirabar district, seeing a patrol of guards moving throughout the city, and even though it was only 9 in the morning, it was twilight out. Afterwards, Karsus sent a telepathic message to Brother asking what the hell the party had done to warrant the Arcane Brotherhood's attention. Brother said we owed him a talk, and after catching him up to speed, he was quite shocked at learning about the Johnny being a warlock and us having discovered the the Book of Vile Darkness within the tomb. He said that the best course of action would be for us to head north, to stay out of any of the major cities, because with 10 towns being up north, any member of the Arcane Brotherhood would have a hard time getting there with the Demon War happening and the natural divination inhibitors of up north. Karsus also expressed a real interest in wanting the pseudo-dragon, but unfortunately, we declined his offer, accepting it as a reward. The session ended with Karsus casting the gate spell and the party rushing out of the safe room towards a portal to Neverwinter to get some long-awaited errands completed before they spend the foreseeable future up north exploring what 10 towns had to offer. Eyes Black also said he is going to stay within Luskin and eventually head to Kalimport, and he will be temporarily leaving the party. He revealed his true name to be Branch Breaking and gave the rest of the party the portable hole and the letter with the tile.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Kino.
You're welcome.
All right. So, immediately when everyone walks through the portal and you see Eyes walking back, Karsus points to Eyes, expecting him to come through. He doesn't, and the portal does slowly close. And then Karsus immediately says, all right, so now that we're here, I do have important things that I need to do. What's your plan, and how do you expect to get out of Neverwinter?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's he. So he looks at you and he says, "Yeah, that's all fine, but are you going to need my help to get out to the spine of the world, or are you going to be able to get there on your own?" He said, "Well, see, here's the problem." He said, "I'm on my way to do some studying myself, and I have a very, very pressing matter that I have to attend to. That's why I'm asking. I can give you some time. I mean, I don't mind giving you some time. Now, granted, I don't exactly know how much the Arcane Brotherhood wants you, and just keep in mind that if they really do, there's not much we're going to be able to do if they start scrying." And he points to your pseudo-dragon, Henri. He says, however, he says, I would just use your pet and have him look for the scrying ball.
Mm.
Yep. And he points to the golden pseudo-dragon. Ah. Well, he said, yeah. He said she should be able to see the scrying ball. So at the very least, you'll know that you've been found. But I don't think there's going to be anything you can do if they do end up scrying you anyway. So it is what it is. But he points to the whole group. He says, but they don't have like a piece of your hair or anything, right?
Not that we know of.
Okay. All
I
right.
have
Well,
some of my blood from when I got hurt.
I believe it would take some time for them to collect that.
yeah, they would also have to know it's your blood, and well, hopefully, I mean, hopefully that's not the case. I don't know if anyone knows how scrying works here, but it's going to be considerably easier for them to find you and to basically spy on you if they have a drawing of you, or it's even easier if they have a bit of your blood or hair. Just so you know. But he said, "But listen, I can help, but I'm only going to be in here for a couple of hours, so." You can certainly use my help, or you can get there on your own. But I do suggest heading up north. It's one of the safest places. That, or we go west of Thay.
Who amongst us bled during our squabble?
I think that's it.
I think Evil Grin did, which would be great to throw them off.
I think you and Evil Grin have the same DNA, though.
Yeah, but it's scrying. It's not. They're not sending it to the lab.
That's true.
Did he actually take real damage?
You guys beat him over the head repeatedly. I would assume he took some damage.
I was doing non-lethal.
He says, well, I mean, this is going to be up to you guys to decide. However, I can personally only give you 2 to 3 hours, and then I'm heading out. So you guys do whatever you need to do. I have some affairs that I have to do here anyway, which is why this was fine for me. But after this, I'm going to be up north doing my own thing. So, and he does.
Where will you be? Can we ask where you will be up north?
He says yes. He actually gives you a small, what looks like a parchment, and on the parchment it has a town name, and then it has a person to go see. It says Bryn Shadar, and the person to go see is in like basically runes that you can't understand that are slowly moving back and forth on the page. And it says, "Don't worry, when you get there, it'll reveal itself. This is just for our safety."
If we were to teleport there, is there a safe space to do so?
He said, "Are you familiar with Bryn Shadar?"
I'm not.
No.
He said, "So it wouldn't matter. I mean, I could describe it, but unfortunately, if you're going to teleport yourself, you're going to have a. Basically, you're just going to have to take the risk." So, and he says, "Does anyone have a map of Icewind Dale?"
We were going to go to the library and see if we could get a better map and some understanding of the land.
He said, "Yeah." He said, "Unfortunately, I mean, he says if you can open up your books and go through it, and I'll bring the book up here too, so you guys can see it when we open it." So here,
He was making stuff with their card.
yeah, yeah.
Also,
He said, "I can point it out on your books."
You said that our level up books also had incredibly.
That's what I'm saying. That's the book I'm talking about. So it obviously does not have a detailed, it has the exact map that I'm showing you here. They are incredibly detailed because they have the major cities, but unfortunately nothing has the details within 10 towns. You just have to, unless you can find it in 10 towns itself. But let me show you. Let me show you what you do have. So this is what you do have. Oops. I know you guys can see that, but hold on one second. Sorry, hold on. All right. It is. Here we go. This is the map that you have in your books. So if we scroll all the way up, this is as detailed as it gets. So, yep. So basically, it shows you 10 towns, and he points to the picture here, and we can zoom in. All right. He said, so yes, he said, unfortunately, this is the general overview of 10 towns. However, Bryn Shadar is somewhere within this point here. And he explains that. So he said, this is going to be risky. He said, it's going to be really, really risky. But you can try to go exactly where I'm saying on this map. And he looks at you, Abel, and he said, "That's certainly possible, I imagine, with the magical item that you have, but
Yeah.
it's still going to be dangerous."
Which is the most famous building there in that town?
He said probably the tavern. He said what you might be able to do. He says, "I don't know if you're going to be able to find any Tin Towns maps in Neverwinter." He said, you might want to try for the outside. And he goes through and he points at this location here. He said, just beyond the river here, where the river like spreads out, what you can barely see on your map, that's where
Mhm.
Brinchadar is. It's on the edge of that river. He said you might just want to try for the outside and see if that works. That or just come with me and I'll gate you there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that sucks.
He said, I can give you up to 4. He says, if you really need the time, I'll give you up to 4 hours. He said, but after that, we've got to, I have to get out of here anyway. He said, it's actually more dangerous for you guys, the more time you spend here, but it's completely up to you. Like I said, I can just
Well,
leave and you can also just meet me up there.
I mean, I can spend time researching where we'd be going and make our odds better and prepare for it. But if we need more time. Oh, clearly they're the best that way.
I don't want to end up inside a tree.
He said,
Whoa.
however, I can give you some time to get your affairs in order. However, I would keep the pseudo dragon close to you. If he does see the scrying ball, he said, right. If he does, he like laughs you off of that. Unfortunately, you can tell that Karsus is kind of. You don't have to make you don't have to make an insight check to this. No, it's not that. It's not that it has nothing to do with you being. He's very stubborn when it comes to whatever he thinks it is. So he's like dismissing you for this. But anyway, he says, I can give you 4 hours. He said, I'm fine with giving you 4 hours, but anything other than that, I'm going to go myself. He said, Abel, you very well could just try your magic item if you have to stay here, but make sure the pseudo dragon is next to you, because if you do get scryed and I'm still here, at the very least, I might be able to get you out of it. Like, we
Okay.
might be able to just leave. So, but you're going to have to contact me and I'm going to have to find you. So,
Well, we do know that it sounds like Henri, Johnny, Abel, and possibly Grin are going to the library. And me and brother
Mhm.
would probably be going to settle some affairs, most likely around the market and getting rid of some property.
okay.
I'm also. Can I remind Karsus that we need to do something with Henri's parents?
Yeah, he says, what would you like me to do, though? He says, I'm kind of limited here.
If we can get them as far away as possible to keep them out of Neverember's mindset and in safety, that's all we really want. Is I just don't want to risk them getting used as a weapon against us again.
Yeah, he says, I mean, I understand. He goes back to your map, by the way, and he says, so, I mean, where exactly do we want to put your parents, Henri? He says, I can gate to almost anywhere within Faerun. I can do it several more times. He said, but he said there's a lot of places that just aren't very safe. He said, however, I'll leave it up to you on where you want to take them.
I think it might be best if only you know, because if we don't know, then we can't give that information away.
That's true.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I can.
Henri, but it's the best
it's-
decision.
Yeah, I can pick a relatively safe place, I think. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he agrees to that.
We can always find them again.
Ask Iono to sign my book real quick before we part ways or anything.
Fine. If this comes back to bite me, Johnny,
Just
I
write
swear
your
to God,
name. It
I'm
won't.
signing.
I promise.
I'm signing it and signed.
He said, after you finish your business, you need to contact me. So don't worry. Like, I'm going to be all over the place. So just contact me, and then we'll get out of there as soon as possible. And then after this, all I want you to do is take that note. Once you're in Brinchadare, it'll tell you who you need to talk to. and then just do the one thing for me, and then we'll call it even. But she'll tell you what to do.
One thing, huh? Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yep.
Do we need any physical description on what Prince Shadar looks like?
Prince Shadar's
Oh.
he explains that Prince Shadar's the town. He says, "Don't worry." He said, "The note is magic. It'll work itself out. Don't worry about it."
Looks like a bunch of buildings.
Yeah, it says it'll even do more than give you a name. But for now, like I said, even writing the town is a bit too much for that note. But I had to, given the way that the magic works, unfortunately. But it said it'll be fine. We'll just get to that area, and the note will take care of everything else.
All right. Yeah.
Up in the backpack, we'll run there.
Battle stations.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So what do you guys? What's the plan for me? Like, what are you guys actually going to do?
All right. So
One quick question.
Yeah. No. Not as Karsus, as Chris the DM. Like, so what's
Okay.
the plan for everybody? So yeah.
Chris.
Johnny, Henri, Abel, and Grin are all going to the library to try to write down scrolls while Abel looks up information and Grin watches our backs. I'm
Okay.
going to stay in contact with Kiono while Kiono and Brother go and attempt to sell as much stuff as possible and buy the magic item map.
Yep.
And I think they have a couple other things they'd like to do during that 4-hour time period.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah,
well we can do the thing first. We can do them one by one. So we can definitely do and this is you're going to the library that you went to previously in Neverwinter Academy, correct? Well, that so you have a couple different options. So there's the library that you went to a long time ago, and then there's the Neverwinter Academy library, which I assume your character has been to in their past, but you've never been to in the campaign. Is that the one you want to go to, or do you want to go to? So there's two different you have two different options. Yes, Neverwinter Academy has by far the most spells, the more powerful. Like it's definitely got the most options. That's just the one where they kind of want you to be a student. The other one, you can think about just paying them in the library, but either one is fine. I just want to know which one.
Which one is the least associated with Brotherhood?
Neverwinter Academy. They're both disassociated with the Brotherhood, but Neverwinter Academy is Henri would know this is in the Beggar's Nest, and it's like it's basically a it's basically a standalone mage college that supports itself. Just like the Arcane Brotherhood is a standalone mage association that also supports itself, just happens to be really, really prevalent in Luskan.
It's a magnet school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to one of those. That's where we're going.
Yeah. But Neverwinter Academy is also famous. Some other people might know this in the thing. Henri certainly does, but Neverwinter Academy is famous because that's where the Willing Death was cured. So if anyone's ever played the Neverwinter video games, this is the starting area. It's where everything happened. Neverwinter Academy is the school that basically brought up the hero in the video game that you play that actually ended up curing the Wailing Death. That's Neverwinter Academy. It's in the Beggar's Nest district. So it's got some history and semi-famous.
Hey, Chris, off question. Nearest body of water to Bryn Shadar.
So would your characters know that? Then so it's a not super well-known lake. Are you asking out of character?
I'm asking based on the knowledge that we have and the map he gave us and stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't know the name of it. Yeah, because that would have been good, but that it's not actually named on the map at all.
We have a name for that river.
It's something.
You might, oh yeah. So
It is something people will be researching or the moat drawn.
Oh yeah, you totally. The Mojon is a great. Yeah. So here's the thing. So the Mirror Bar goes all the way up, like the actual like river that it's based off of, River Mirror. That
Mhm.
goes all the way through this. So and by the way, the sea of floating ice, these glaciers up here, sea of moving ice, I guess. The glaciers up here, this freshwater all goes into that as well, which creates these lakes. Um, there is a very, very famous one right next to Kelvin's Cairn, but it's completely unnamed unless you're a citizen of 10 towns. And it has different names. So, and that would probably be the one right up there. But yeah, you can research it. And the Modron would be a great way to get that for sure.
Just the idea I'm thinking is if I land there, at least two of us can swim. If I aim for a lake, if we miss, we're pretty good.
That is definitely a good idea. So if you go for a lake, it's pretty safe, and those lakes are pretty
also
big.
Probably frozen too right now.
Yes, the only thing is, on a mishap, you will end up being below the ice. Just as a heads up, on a mishap, there's a very good chance.
Take care of getting out of that, but
Yeah, there is a good chance that you would end up being below the ice on a mishap. Same thing on a mishap, though. You can also get below the ground, which is even worse. So,
well, that's why I was going to aim for water. I can handle water better than ground.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. But that's okay. So you're going to go through that and then ask the Modron, which
I'm going to research that possibility if it's needed.
Great. Okay. And what about and Henri, did you want to go to Neverwinter Academy? Okay. Yep. Where did you guys want to go?
This is your decision, Henri. You know the city best.
You could probably at least get a conversation going. Yeah. You would know that. You can probably try to talk your way into this, but it's going to be whatever happens.
Do we need money to bribe our way in?
I still have some of that, and I have the tongue to help get us through.
Okay.
Why do you gotta take things so long?
All right.
If it's got the better options, let's go there.
All right. So you guys do head up into the Beggar's Nest district, and it's a really large building with numerous rooms. It has an entire training hall in the middle of it, so it looks semi-cylindrical, almost like a big tower. But it's also but Henri, you also there's also like a senior barracks and some stables, and so this is a massive place. As soon as you walk in, you see there's a there's a massive hall, and in the hall there's a giant picture of the hero of Neverwinter, which, by the way, Henri, you would know this, happened in 1372 DR. That's when this was commissioned. And what they're doing is they're basically commemorating the guy who basically solved the Wailing Death. The Wailing Death was a magical disease that literally killed almost half of all the people in Neverwinter and killed millions across multiple cities. So it was a pretty big deal. And so, and Johnny, I just clarify your question, by the way, in text. I didn't understand it. But
I view the map like everybody else can in their book through my scepter.
Oh no! I'm sorry. You have to use their books. Yeah, no.
Okay,
no, it
sounds
doesn't
good.
work.
That's what I was checking.
Yeah, let me see. Sorry.
Secrets.
Oh yeah. So Henri, yes, you definitely can. With some caveats that you'll have to figure out as you try. Yeah, and then the other one is it's not exactly so. The answer is no. So, and it's not exactly that either. It's not exactly full true sight, but the answer is that as soon as you look through the Sweater Dragon's eyes, it's always active. However, You can actually. Yeah, you have that link with it, just like your other familiar. And then on top of it, you do become blind and deaf when you do it, but you can do it on demand. It's allowing you. It's basically giving you access to it whenever you want. On top of that, it will just tell you too. If it sees something, it's always going to tell you. So, but anyway, so it's like having it, I guess. Anyway, so um, all right. So anyway, so you walk into this massive hall, and you see that there's a desk. It's some kind of administration desk up front. There's a bunch of librarians and other things. Basically, they're students within these white robes that have this symbol of Neverwinter on them. And they're going back and doing some kind of clerical duties. And that's what you see when you walk in. By the way, the giant portrait only has Hero of Neverwinter on it. It doesn't have a name or anything. It is a male elven like person. It's like a decently attractive elven male with blonde hair.
Does it look like Kino?
Does not look like Kino.
Okay, just making sure it's not a relation.
Kino is not a dude.
Yep.
Well,
Can
Yeah.
be confused for one, but I'm bummed.
Yep.
I'll
All
walk
right.
up to the desk.
Female elves, they all look alike.
Yeah, go ahead.
My friends and I are here to attempt to add some magic into our midst, so to speak. We all have poems we would like to view and read. A friend would like to do research. I myself would like to do some research, as would Henri, and I assume she's been here before, and you may know her.
Yeah, you walk up to the
Pull out my
remember
coin
you're
purse.
in disguise.
yeah you walk up to the older gentleman.
yeah.
He's roughly like 60, or seems to be 60. He's a human male. He has gray silvery hair, and he says, "Signet, please."
You know what? I happen to leave mine behind, but I assume we could find a workaround, and I'm going to pull out my coin purse and kind of just start counting out coins.
No, you don't, unfortunately. He says, "What? But are you a former student?"
Ah, yes, many, many years ago. It's been a long time since I've been here.
Yeah, go ahead and make a deception check.
23.
He said, so not only do you say that, but you also mention through you just mentioned a couple things that you found on the way in. For instance, you saw that the picture was in 1372, and when he asks you, you tell him that you were a student 9 years ago, and going through and looking as confident and familiar that you were with all the surroundings, he does get confused and just does believe you. And he says, it's I really should make you go back and get your signet. He said, however, how much gold are you asking to donate to the academy?
How does 200 gold sound to keep our names off the records?
He said, keeping your names off the records. He says, could we do 500 gold to keep your names off the records?
Let's say 350. I'm going to attempt to persuade him.
Yeah. He's thinking about it. Go ahead and make a persuasion check, though. Another one.
14, and I'm going to use my devil's own luck.
Yep.
Make it a 19.
Okay. Yeah, he says that's fine. He'll let you in. He said, however, listen. He said this of course just gets you access to the back area. He said, go talk to Fenelon. Fenelon is a lovely woman in her 30s, elvish, long flowing blue silvery hair. He said she'll give you the prices on the scrolls that you wish to destroy.
Sounds good. Thank you for
Yep.
your help.
Yep.
Destroy is such a harsh word for a library.
Do you say that out loud, Kino?
Oh,
He's
I'm
not
not
with
there.
us.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, so you guys go ahead and you do walk back to an area all the way back in the back right hand corner of the library, and there's like a stall essentially set up, and this is the area that has all of the actual scrolls that they allow the students to work on. And Henri, I guess you would know that this is probably an area where so they're not going to have everything. They're just going to have access to scrolls that students would have access to. And it's also set up specifically so that you can copy them, because they obviously all get destroyed on copy. But this is set up specifically for students to try to basically copy spells.
I look for the elven woman with bluish hair.
Yeah. No, she's there, and she says, "Hello, how can I help you?"
Yes, my friend and I are both attempting to copy some scrolls. We need to get them added to our book for a safe journey. I also have a friend that would like any knowledge or information you may have on Icewind Dale or Ten Towns. I point to Abel, or his illusion self.
Yeah.
Yes.
He says, "Well, he says you can hire one of the scribes to go through and find any book you want for 10 gold." He said, "If that's what you're asking for." She points over. So Abel, she points you down across the hallway. You do, sure enough, see that there are a bunch of what looks like students ferrying books to and from other people. She said it's a little expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you're in a hurry. She said, "So you could, you can go ahead and start over there." He said, "However, just understand you do know the rules, correct?"
Why don't you
Not
repeat them for all of us?
specifically.
She said, "Well, she said you are allowed to have a scroll. You do have to pay us for the scroll. However, you only have 12 hours. Once the 12 hours are up, you do have to pay a penalty fee. That, or you have to buy the scroll out from us directly, in which case you can do with it whatever you please to do with it."
Okay.
And then,
I
she,
could,
and then she goes to you and she says, "By the way, I need to see your academy level. So signet, please." She's asking you, Johnny, for your signet.
Yeah, give me a second.
I know. I think most of the original group got signets when we came back from the tomb beforehand.
Oh, yeah. Do I have the signet from that we were given from Neverwinter or Neverember?
Never.
You do have you definitely have that, which is completely different than
I'll
what.
just pull it out and show that to her and see if that gets me more cred.
Yeah. So you immediately when you pull out Lord Neverember's signet, she's like very confused and very surprised. She said, "Well," she said, "So what spell are you looking for?"
I would like silence.
She said, "Well, we certainly have silence." She says she snaps her fingers, and what looks like two small, like maybe gnomish people. They're very very small. They're like 3 feet tall. They have bright orange hair, and they come running in either direction once she snaps her fingers. And each of them has what looks like half of a piece of paper, which she gives them both halves. She joins those two halves together, rolls up the piece of paper, and then ties a little like golden thread around the middle of it. And she said, "So are you going to be doing this here and being evaluated, or are you buying this?"
I'm going to do it here, and I wouldn't mind being evaluated.
She said, "Okay, so you do have 12 hours to get this done." And she said, once you're evaluated, if for whatever reason you are able to successfully copy the spell, you do get a discount of 500 gold. She said it will be 2,500 gold to go through this and copy it on your own, but you will of course be evaluated. So we're going to watch you. She Yeah, she says, yeah, she says, "We do have counterspell." She snaps her fingers, same thing happens. Those two same, what look like maybe gnomish people come up, give her the spell. She puts it together, and she says, "That will be 3,500 gold." Are you also going to be evaluated? She says, "Oh, okay." She says, "That's fine. It's 4,000 gold." Yep. Okay. All right. All right, so Johnny, so you're going to take. Let's see. What level are you copying the spell down as? By the way.
Level 2. It's the only way I can copy it down. So I'll
Yeah,
copy it down as a level 2 silent spell into my tome.
Gotcha. What am I thinking? Hold on. Let me see something. Why did I think?
This is more than just an Arcana check to scribe scrolls, to scribe copy, right?
It's just an Arcana check. It's just the timing. For some reason,
I would ask, would you like me to scribe anything for you guys?
If you have some time, assistance is always welcome.
If that makes things more possible, then
Yep.
It's just writing.
Yeah, you could of course help if you need to, Abel, and it would give him a better chance.
Mm-hmm. If you want me to write a different, copy a different spell to you get more done, or help you guys, whichever. However you want that to do, I'm
I think
able.
we're trying to stick with the 4-hour time limit, so I think just the one, and then get the hell out of Dodge.
Okay.
Because all the other spells I have written are going to take
6
longer than 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I guess we could borrow those, and I could bring them back later tonight, if, as they said, is possible.
I think we have to.
She says, let's find out. And she snaps her fingers and they bring back a ledger for her. And she said, detect magic is 3,000.
I'm going to look at her and say, even for friends of Lord Neverember, can't you give us a discount?
She said, the reason why I'm able to freely give these to you, especially counterspell, is because you're friends of Lord Neverember. He said, normally I shouldn't even be doing this without your signet, by the way. But she said, I'll make an exception because you do have the Lord's signet.
Oh, shucks. Thank you so much. And I'll give her a wink.
Yep. Yep.
Grin tries to mimic both of them and does both.
Yeah.
I'll just nod my head.
Cool. All right, cool. All right, so Abel, you were able to. So I assume you're going to help Johnny. You're not going to look for but that means you're not going to look for the 10 Towns geography.
If Johnny needs help, I will help him. I don't know if that would take all my time.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, I think it would. Yeah, it'd take 4 hours. But here's the thing: if you help him, what you're actually doing is you're both going through and like tag teaming, copying the spell down. So that's the plan, and it would take all of your attention. If you don't want to help him, you'll definitely be able to get more information about 10 Towns.
Okay. And how does that help him? I guess is the question.
He gets advantage on his Arcana check.
Okay. Do you think you need that?
Well, since Henri isn't copying a spell right now, she could help me.
Yes.
Scrolls outright.
That is correct. That is correct. Yeah, yeah.
And Henri and I will do it together so Abel can still get his thing done.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Because I don't know that mine will take a tremendous amount of time, but maybe. But yeah. He's looking for the nearest, large-ish body of water, so he can contain his mischances on a teleport.
Yeah.
To Brinshar.
Grin's gonna post up where he can see the group, but also see if he can stand somewhere where he can see like the entrance.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, there's definitely a place where you can see it's pretty big and open, and you have good line of sight to them. So there's going to be a couple different places where you could stand, and you'll go somewhere in the middle where you can see the entrance, and of course, still see Henri and Johnny and everybody. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I also think, unless it's like using up questions on the Modron, I think they'd be easy questions. He would just ask the Modron where the book on this is.
Would you want to openly take the Modron out in a place like this, though?
Hmm.
No, no,
Johnny
no,
would
you
tell
wouldn't.
you openly that that thing is not safe outside anywhere until we have
Yeah,
a whole
especially
team together to protect it.
especially not in an area with a. You would know this, Henri. There's just too much jealousy associated with these things, and they're just so coveted and wanted that if you're doing it in a mage school, that's probably a bad idea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he would actually use the Modron to help him research it.
Okay. So if
And-
you ask the Mojang directly, so that's the question. Are you bringing the Mojang out in the open?
I mean, he's not waving it around, but yeah, he'd pull it out and ask it.
Can Abel find a secluded space to do his research?
Yeah, I mean, in a study area, I would assume there's like a carrel or desk they give you to scribe or whatever.
So there is. So there, unfortunately, they're all out in the open, and they do that because basically, and it's very obvious to you, Abel, the way that this is set up. There's actually some areas even above this because it's literally the ceiling is 100 feet high, and there's areas above it where there's other professors that watch down on the students because you're in the area where everyone's like doing their scrying, so they give you 12 hours to see if you can even copy the spells, and some students don't, they fail. So this is a heavily watched area.
Okay. He still would. He'd try to do it discreetly, unless the Modron itself is just a loud, obnoxious thing to have out in the library.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. I mean, so you take the Modron out and you set it on the desk and go ahead and give me exactly what you ask it.
I need a book on of lakes near Bryn Shaddar. Is that the correct name? Sorry.
Yeah, Bryn Shaddar is the correct name. Bryn Shaddar. It says like words or whatever, and you know that this is not a question that it can answer because it wouldn't know locations of a book. However, Abel, you think about it and you're like,
okay,
wait. You could just ask it though. What is the lake called near Bryn Shaddar, and it would know the answer to that.
Okay. I thought if it was in a book, that was stuff that it knew particularly well. Okay.
No, it absolutely does. Here's the thing: it just doesn't know where the book is.
Yep,
that's the problem. It wouldn't know where the book is in the library, but anything that's written down in history, so that's why it knows the name of the lake. So if we can retcon that one now that you completely understand it. That's fine.
That's fine.
But,
that's something I misunderstood. I asked it one of those stuff.
No, it's totally fine. That's what. But Abel as your character would understand this. So you don't. The Modron is so much better than a book because in this case you really don't need the book. What you really and it wouldn't know where the book was in the library, the position of it, or anything like that. But it will absolutely know things like this, and it does answer you. And it says the largest lake next to Bryn Shaddar is called Mare Dulden. So and it spells it for you: MaerdUALDON.
Okay. Mare Dulden.
Mare Dulden.
MERDOLDON.
MAERDUALDON.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I will. If there's a scribe nearby, I will ask them for a map of Mare Dulden near Bryn Shaddar.
Okay. The scribe says I can find you a book on Icewind Dale. He said, unfortunately, I don't know if any of them are going to have a map on them, but we'll look, we'll see. So he does go through and start looking. He actually finds literally 15 books on the spine of the world. But he says we don't really have any maps of this area. But he did actually find the best thing that he could find was there is a fisherman's log of basically fishing up in Icewind Dale, and it's basically a story / journal. And he fished directly off the Mare Dulden. So they were able
Okay.
to, with luck, find this book for you. And it does give you kind of a general idea when you look back on your map and it talks about the locations. Like you could pinpoint this lake for sure, given the
Yep.
landmarks that it talks to you about. But that's basically it. Otherwise, it's just about him fishing and looking for knuckle
Okay.
mushroom.
I am basically looking for information on a specific spot there. So that's what my aim
Yeah.
is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, what it does is it does allow you to find places within the middle or the side of the lake. You can make that distinction, but you would at least have a reasonable location of where this lake is based off the map that you have. But you're not exactly sure. The only thing the book talks about, it keeps talking about Mar Dolden and the fact that Bryn Shandar is actually on the south of Mar Dolden. You're not exactly
Okay.
where south, but it's south. So you can kind of figure this out. So you kind of got what you needed, which is good. So
Yeah, if I can put myself in that fishing spot that he really named and had the boat on, that's exactly what
Yep.
I'm looking. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Good deal. Good deal. All right, good. All right, so now that they're doing that, what did you guys want to do, brother Kino?
All right. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to liquidate all the unwanted assets from the bag of holding. We wanted to sell, and if we're still with Karsus and both of Henri's parents, we probably would have just like run them by like, okay, we're going to sell this property, just to help relocate you before you leave. And also, I know Henri mentioned last time about possibly going in and getting some equipment before we liquidate the house. Maybe stopping by there. Obviously, we'll pay them for whatever we take.
Yeah, so Kino, when you start looking around to like different merchant stuff to sell the house, you quickly realize that it takes far too long to sell a house in a couple hours because it requires paperwork. It actually, unfortunately, does have to get past Neverember anyway, since he was the original owner of the property. So it's too much. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to sell the house. What you might be able to do, you think to yourselves, is maybe try to find a creative way to rent it, but there's a good chance you wouldn't be able to before you left. So we'll roll for it to see. But that's the best you can do without the paperwork. You need the deed and everything else, and it needs to go through all these adjudicators, and you just don't have enough time to sell the property.
All right, and then we also wanted to buy the treasure map and possibly a better map of Icewind Dale.
Gotcha. Yep. So you can definitely buy so you can definitely go through the merchant that you guys dealt with before that had the magic items to go through that. And you have enough time to do both. Where do you want to try to get a map of Icewind Dale? There's going to be several different maps. Unfortunately, you're not entirely sure.
We may
Like
want to try that shifty map guy we know of first.
Sure. It'll just be hard for you to basically be able to know for sure if the map is legitimate or not. But
also, did we want to keep an eye out for diamond dust? Is that something we wanted to watch out?
Yeah,
for?
we're gonna do that when we get rid of our gems.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's one very prominent jeweler in Neverwinter that is probably your best bet with diamond dust. And it only takes you a little bit to go through and talk to the town, like different people to go through, and they're all going to point you to the same guy anyway. So that's relatively simple. So if you're going to want to try to sell your gems and try to bargain for diamond dust at the same time, you can, and we can go through that. So outside of that, though, is there anything else you wanted to do, or do you want to start with the other stuff?
Mostly just the item liquidation, the gem stuff. I'm gonna want to hit an alchemy shop.
Yep. What do you want to buy from the alchemy shop, and I'll tell you how difficult that is within your time frame. What's the
Just some base alcohol, some vials and bottles, and looking for plant bases, like a plant blue leaf for fairy bells.
Actually, so all of those are common enough that you can go ahead and take all of that. You can buy all of that for less than 20 gold. So if I'll just let you haggle it down to 15, so we can take care of that easily. So the thing that's going to be more difficult for you is so first off, are you going to liquidate all the gems in the bag? Which gems are you selling?
We're gonna get rid of the sharp cut rubies, the red gem, the yellow gem, the citron, and 20 of the 30 chunks of obsidian. I'm saving 10 for able for crafting purposes.
Okay. Let me just look at something real quick. I think I already gave you values for those, correct?
Yeah, you did give us values of them. It's just
Yep.
do we have to haggle them or we just automatically sell?
No, you can for this gem merchant, you can get them for full value. Diamond dust, however, is unfortunately far greater value than the DMG, so that's why how much diamond dust are you looking for? Because are you looking for the 25 gold worth of diamond dust per thing? Is that kind of what you're aiming for?
Well, what do we need diamond dust for again? Was that for something for Henri?
What was the non-detection spell?
It's
Yeah.
the spell states that it's 25 gold worth of diamond dust. However, that does not translate well to the real like value
Yeah.
of it, unfortunately, because it's so incredibly rare. So so what Henri needs for and if she wants multiple uses, that's fine. But what she needs is she needs around 8 ounces of diamond dust. 8 ounces of diamond dust in the current market is going for somewhere around 2,000 to 3,500 like gold pieces. That said, the reason why you're going to this merchant specifically is because there are lots of shady merchants that are saying that they have diamond dust, but unfortunately it's just not real. You can the neat thing is in this world, diamonds actually do have an inherent property of magic, so you can make arcana checks to make sure you're getting legit diamond dust.
Can they buy really shitty diamonds with, inclusions and stuff?
Oh, so that's all the diamond dust is, unfortunately. Like they don't allow the larger diamonds, especially the ones to be used in resurrections, to be broken down. So that's all these are. However, it's so the reason why diamond dust is such an important component, you would know this, your character would know this, Abel, is that it has an intrinsic connection not only to the weave, but to a very specific type of magic that's associated with it, which is the only reason why diamonds are so incredibly valuable. They're actually magical constructs in this world in Faerun. So that's why. The good news is that you guys are all powerful enough that you can do arcana checks to make sure you're not getting cheated anyway. Like you can reach out to the weave and you know magic now enough that you could figure this out. And that's why you're going to this one specific guy. So after you do it, obviously you still need to make the arcana check to see, but it's expected that this is legitimate diamond dust. It is expensive. So we're talking so if she wanted to do this, if she wanted to go through and have, like, for instance, 4 uses of the spell, it's going to be close to 10,000 gold, unless you can barter or do something else to try to figure this out. But it does get consumed every time.
And also, amongst those shady vendors, no one would have a ring, right, of the same thing.
Well, there might be. So that's the other thing. The rings are going to be massively more expensive. They're all highly, highly illegal. And you would have to find somebody who specializes in that stuff. If that's what you're going to look for, it's you might have to break up, because that's going to like take up all your time to basically just find even one vendor in the entire time you've set. It's possible, but this is going to be very, very expensive stuff and highly, highly illegal. You would even know this, Kino. These rings are not something that, like, this spell in general is not a spell that's like thrown around often.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
Maybe we shouldn't worry about that then.
So you can take them at you can go ahead and take their values if you want to sell the gems.
All right, so I will save 10 chunks of obsidian. I'll save the better chunks of obsidian for.
He will tell you. By the way, he will tell you, like if you sell all the gems with, if you're going to do a considerable amount, he will try to give you a deal on diamond dust. Like if you wanted to make a trade, but it's going to be within reason. It's going to depend on what you end up selling. So.
Well, I was also looking at especially for myself, since we're going into somewhere that's going to be a little fun. Just bring it up real quick.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any components you need, by the way,
like
this
a
is a good place to
300.
buy 'em. Yeah.
Yeah, like the diamond component for Revivify.
Okay, that's I mean that's so the diamond component for, let me just double check something.
Yeah, it's 300 GP.
It's diamond
normally.
dust though, right?
No, it's just diamonds.
It is a diamond.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Hold on. Yeah, it would be far. I would be far out of your price range. You're gonna have to think of something creative if you want a diamond for that. Um, you it's almost better to find a mining contract and actually go look for these things on your own, brother. They're expensive. I mean, so he does have, so he's the one shop in all of Neverwinter that has that has diamonds that are good enough to resurrect, revivify, even a true resurrection diamond. The revivify, like, so the diamonds that you can use to use revivify, as a matter of fact, are those consumed though? Hold on, let me just double check something. I don't think that one is. Let me just double check. Hold on.
Yeah, it does consume it. For Revivify, the diamond is consumed.
The spell consumes diamonds worth 300, which the spell consumes. Yep. Yep. You touch a creature that. Yeah, let me just double check something. Yeah. So if you want to take the crappier diamonds for Revivify, he explains to you that you're looking at somewhere between 5,000 gold starting, and we have to make the proper checks. Like, you have to make the proper checks to make sure these diamonds qualify, which you can do, but it is expensive. And the dust, even the dust to do the spell 4 times, like the one that Henri's going for, is going to be like over that amount. So it is possible to purchase them, but you're just going to have to make some kind of barter or whatever. However, the good news is that all the magic items that you have within your possession, are highly, highly also valuable because they're just super, super rare. So if you're willing to sell a magic item or something, this is where you have an advantage. But other than that, the gems, not so much. You're just getting the straight gold value. So.
All right, then for the red, yellow, and citron, we'll just take the straight value since those are 1,000 apiece.
Yep.
Now the sharp cut rubies that we got out of the throne in the tomb.
Yep.
We got those at 1,000 gold apiece, so that would be 3,000.
Yep.
For those.
Yep.
Unless he would think they're a little bit more, maybe might be able to haggle them up.
You can tell them the history. The only thing is that you might also scare them off too. It's a hit or miss.
All right, then we'll just take the straight price fit. So that's 6,000 gold for those.
Yep.
Oh, shit, I need a calculator.
Also, not really a component, but I would like to see if anyone is selling enough just raw leather to eventually cover my plate mail. Just since we're going to be somewhere colder, just a protective layer over.
Oh yeah, you can get enough raw leather to cover your plate mail for less than 25 gold.
Or you
Leather.
could just
all right.
Use a Gambitson under it.
Yeah.
Base layer that shit.
Well, hopefully, I would like to do both because I eventually want to pad it so it's quieter. But I want to just get the components and worry about the actual construction at a later date and talk to Abel and everything. But
sure. Yep.
That's
Have some
since
fur
we're here
too to keep yourself warm.
Well, I have the jacket already, but I'm just gonna get the base material here because I'm assuming it's gonna be more expensive up north. So I'll just keep a lookout for that while brother's selling the jewels.
Okay, good idea. Yep.
All right, so for 20 pieces of obsidian, of 5 gold a piece, that's 100 gold.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to be 6,100 gold total for those gems.
Yep. Yeah. So, like I said, if you you definitely have things in your possession that he would greatly, greatly want, and he's one of the few vendors that has enough money to pay you properly, but he does have diamonds. So there's definitely a way to get these from him, but you're gonna have to be willing to give up things that he can never get naturally.
Well, we're getting to that. We're taking care of the small stuff first.
Yep, sure.
So let me just get this down and mark that we sold them.
Yep.
And Chris, how much did you say that was? 25 gold?
Yeah, 25 gold for the entire leather. Yeah, if you need enough leather to cover everything and some extra.
All right. Yeah, I will. Did anyone else have leather or need stuff covered?
Yep.
Does anyone else have heavy armor?
And by the way, from a meta perspective, that does go with anyone else. You guys know that these things that you have, some of these magic items, no one could ever get in their entire life. So some of these are going to end up being like a name your price thing to some people, depending on how useful they are. It just depends. But like, even if you had, for instance, I'll give you an example, a simple trinket that could literally make mayonnaise once a day, something like that, something as stupid as that, people would be willing to barter or even give a lot of gold for. It's silly things like that. So imagine how much you could get for a useful magic item. Everyone knows this is common knowledge. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Does anyone else have heavy armor that they would need something similar? That like I'm looking at brother. Maybe I know he doesn't have armor, but just something to make it a little bit easier.
I mean, I've got scale, but
Yeah, I'm just in plate.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in half plate, so that's medium armor.
Yep.
I think that's just about it for me. Other than selling the stuff and getting the treasure map, just staying watchful.
All right, so I will next present that. Let's see. Actually, no, that's more of a trinket. Would he deal in precious metals, perhaps?
He does both. He's a jeweler, so he'll do precious metals and he'll do gems.
All right, I'll pull out the 2 golden door knockers that we pulled from the tomb.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just giggled under the mic. You giggled over.
Yeah. He says. Well, where did you get this?
a door.
The price goes up if you like answers.
He said, well, I mean, am I going to have the owner come knocking at my door?
No, don't worry. The owner will
Don't
not
worry,
come
we took
knocking
care
here.
of that. We have his knockers.
He says, well, that's quite a piece here. He said, how much would you be willing to part for these?
I could deal with maybe 5,000 gold, seeing the age and intricate design.
He said, yeah, he said, but these, clearly look like they're stolen. He said, tell you what,
I trust you, they're not stolen. It comes from a very ancient location far away from here.
And the owner will not be showing up.
he says, all right. He said, tell you what, I still feel like I'm taking a risk, but I will give you 4,500 gold for it. I'll melt them down though.
47.50 and you have a deal.
He said, no, he says, listen, I already have to melt these down. He said 4,500. That's what I'm willing to give you. You can try to make you can take a persuasion check though at the end. That's fine. If you want to try to make a persuasion. Okay, cool.
Actually, sorry, Tyler, are you assisting or?
Yeah, I'm assisting.
Yep. Also, Johnny, make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Yeah, if I knew that we needed these melted down.
15.
Okay.
Also, Chris, if I see another helmet, just like a plate helmet, that is a little. I know I have just the standard military one from
Yeah.
Neverember. If I see one of a different make that covers the face a bit more, I would probably check out see what the price is. Just the helmet, not the whole set.
So if you there's a couple different armors that are pretty nice, but with your signet, you would have access to any of like the ornate officer's helmets, and there are a couple different ones that have full face coverings. The only thing is understand if you are going to wear like an ornate helmet that does have like the slits instead, but has like the golden outlines and stuff, you're just going to have you're going to have like disadvantage on attacks and stuff. It's not very like it's not practical armor, unfortunately, for fighting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you would know that. You would try it on. It looks great. You would try it on. You'd be like, oh, I can't even fucking see out of this. Like, this is terrible. So you'd have problems with your peripheral. You'd also have problems like with identifying targets sometimes. So yeah.
Is he need like basically the backward use visor where he just has it down for social interaction and then flips it up when he's actually in a fight?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and they don't exactly, and they unfortunately like none of the ones have the visor there, but you're pretty sure that Abel could like construct something like that for you.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I was
you
just
get an
trying to
idea
get an
for that,
idea.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
All right, I got a whopping 6 on that precision test, so 4,500 for the knockers.
Okay,
With
yeah, he's
advantage.
only yeah, he's
That was
only gonna
with advantage.
okay, but he
Let me
does
do it
he
next
he
time.
he does give you the coin though, so you have 10,000. What is it, 10,500 or 10,000? No, it's actually
10,600.
yeah. Yep. Okay.
All right, so that was 4,500 for the knockers.
Yep. All right. So Johnny, you had a slight headache, but nothing else as you were trying to copy your spells. So
Can I make an Arcana check on that?
you can absolutely, yeah.
15 again.
15.
Certainly.
So all you know is that someone remotely cast a spell on you. Someone remotely, meaning far away, cast some kind of spell on you that failed.
I'm going to say that out loud, and then I'm going to write a message to Kiono that someone is looking for me and maybe looking for the rest of us.
But it did fail. You know that it failed. Yeah.
It failed on our end, or it failed here at least.
So Johnny, you can make it. The only other thing that you would know is that you could. I mean, if you have an idea of what that spell could be, you could you could either ask or do research in the library on how it works.
Would that hinder my time for copying the spell?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna send the message to Kino and then keep
Okay.
working on the spell.
All right. Cool.
I will
just
also
say,
let Abel know.
yeah, I will say received and understood.
Yep.
Depends on who's scrying on you. Once
You guys would have to
shop
do more investigation. Yeah, you'd have to do more. But yeah.
once the shopkeep either turns his back or something, I'm just gonna very nonchalantly turn to brother and go, "Oh, sounds like someone took an interest in our friends."
We'll double that. All right, next up, I'll throw the. We'll do the small inlaid box and the fancy box with the interesting platinum ingot inside of it.
Yep. So he asked you the same question, like, where are you getting this stuff? Like, how did you come across this?
We're known to acquire interesting and eclectic goods from time to time under completely and utterly safe circumstances.
He says, what? It's just ornate. What's the use? Said, I think I can sell it, but you're gonna have to give me a good price on it.
For the smaller box, say 300 gold. But for the larger box and the ingots, see, those are special. We'd have to get at least 12.
He said, well, I definitely know of a woman who would buy the smaller box, so I will buy that outright. But he said, what's special about the ingots?
Oh, you see, the ingot is verily blessed. We're not sure by which deity, but it's definitely strange in nature. It's not really in our purview to explore too deeply. We know it's safe.
And
Eh,
even if you're not religious, I mean, just look at the make. Look at the quality of the metal.
He said, yeah, he says, I understand, but at the same time, I would need to have someone verify this. He said, I can get someone. I can get someone to come through and I hire a couple different individuals. One from the Church of the Thunder and another that actually is from Neverwinter Academy. And they can come through and they could look at these for me and tell me if they're worth much. Says, I wouldn't mind that.
Time is of the essence for us, so you would have to buy it outright and research it at your own cost and time.
He said, in that case, I'll give you half the cost because I don't know if I can trust you on that, and I'll give you 600 gold.
How about 10,000 for the large box and the ingot? And We'll call that fair and even.
Yeah, for the large box and the ingots.
Yeah, for the large blocks and the platinum ingot. It's the 11-pound. Just out of character was the inert cursed platinum bar that we removed the curse from.
Oh no, I know, but you had already. I thought you had already given him a price of 3. I'm confused because you give him a price of 300 for that and then 1,200 for the
No,
thing.
it's 300 for the small inlaid box and 14,000 for the ingot and fancy box.
Oh, 14,000. Oh, gotcha. No, he sorry, I must have misheard that because he thought you were selling it for 1,200. I gotcha. Okay, so if you're saying 14,000, he's like, listen, that's a large amount of money. I would absolutely need to have this like quantified. He said from a pure metals like association, I would definitely be comfortable giving you another 3 to 4,000, but I'm not comfortable with overpaying on something that I don't know anything about. So I definitely have to go through it.
Is that the stuff that Abel melted down into ingots?
No, that was just the gold bar that we have.
Oh, okay.
No, is it the gold bar? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Is this the gold piece that was from? Is this the massive amount of gold?
No, this isn't the met. This isn't the
Okay.
coffin trunk. This is
Yeah,
the
the
curse
platinum. Yeah, the platinum. Yeah, platinum. That's what I thought.
That's-
He said, yeah, no, he said, I can definitely get this at cost. He said, but there's a lot of things that, I mean, I'd have to go through, not to mention the fact that I would want to check out any cell over like, 2,000, 3,000 gold. You understand. So he said, I'm willing to take a risk and buy it for you outright for around 3,000 gold. But other than that, I need to have someone check this out.
Well, I'll tell you what. Since we've done so much business so far, and you've tried to be so forthright in your dealings, how about 7,000?
Go ahead and try to make a persuasion on the 7,000. See if,
And I'll try and aid you in that
Yep.
since I'm also right there.
yeah, go for it. Yep. Yeah, you guys are both talking to him. So that's fine.
Also, brother, do you want to aid me while I propose this?
Yes,
Which-
I will.
So, but brother, the other insight that you have from him is if you want to make a barter, he's probably more than willing to make a barter. It's just giving you the cash that's the problem. You already know this because he's already got the inventory to make a barter. He's always going to barter more than he is going to give you outright gold. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
I'm aiding
persuasion
Kino.
check. Persuasion
Okay.
check with brother aiding me is going to be a 24.
Okay, all right. No, he thinks about it and he goes through it and he says, he sighs and he does give you the 7,000 gold. He says he's willing to do it. He said, I hope it's worth it. He said, I really hope that this turns out to be worth more than I'm paying for it, but I guess we'll see.
I'm sure.
Would a non-item merchant have items?
What a
That's
what?
the other thing we're going to get.
Non-
This is only part one of the conversation.
Gotcha. But what was the question? Would a non-merchant?
Do non-item merchants have items? Just in their daily business and stuff.
Do non-magic item merchants have magic items? Is that the question?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, that's what I wanted to be very, very clear to the group. That's why your magic items are worth so much. And it's also why there's not a lot of people over like level like 7 or 8. Like even Lord Neverember, you don't know what level he is, but he's not very much past you guys, even with all the magic items he currently has. So it's you guys are already powerful within the world, and there's not a lot of people that have a ton of magic items, even within Neverwinter. So they're still pretty rare. Anyway.
All right, and next up, I'll pull the 9,000 gold pieces and the the melted down gold ingots on to his counter.
Yep.
And say here we have some pre-prepared ingot stock by our own forger.
Yep.
Or forge worker, rather.
Right. This was from the coffin. Is this what
Yeah,
you're
this
putting
is the
down?
copper chunks that have been melted down into ingots.
Yeah, the 9,000 gold. Okay. Yep. Yeah, he. I mean, he looks at it outright. He looks at the value. He's willing to give you the base value for this.
We'll take the base value.
Yep. Now, just keep in mind, you have enough gold at this point that it's just like when you got it originally. It's starting to weigh and be heavy and stuff. So this is going to have to be something that you keep in the bag, just because it's already unruly. 10,000 gold pieces is just a shitload. So,
Mhm.
yeah, and you
Yeah,
have more than that
that's
now.
why
Yeah.
we have the
Yep.
in case.
Yep. Yeah, and by the way, he's already had his helpers go through the vault too. I mean, this is not a terribly large amount of money for the jeweler, but it's still a significant enough amount that he's like going into his vault. You know, he's very like this is a very intense thing for him. So keep that in mind. Yeah.
It might be worth us exchanging, maybe taking an hour or two, if we have it, to exchange this all for platinum. Maybe.
All right, next up, I'll pull out the gold jeweled collar.
Yep.
The 10 empty settings.
Yep. Yep.
I'll gently place it on the counter and say, this particular piece, it was, we have our own smith, as I said, and he originally made this for another use, but he found a better design, and we just have it laying around. Maybe 500 gold pieces.
He says 500 gold is a bit much for the amount of metal. He said, "I'll give you 100 gold for it." And you look at it, brother. You know that it doesn't have a ton of metal on it because of the largest pieces. Let's all
it's probably just plated.
settings. Yeah. But he said, "I'll give you 100 gold for it."
We'll take it.
He said, "Okay." He said, "This has been." He says, I've done more business with most of you than I do an entire 6 months worth of business." He said, "However, do you have anything else?"
I look at brother.
Just looking over the rest of the stuff just in case. This we want to keep. We want to keep that.
You notice that he's looking you up and down too. Especially
Still
you know.
guys, don't we?
Yeah, we look like humans.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. He's looking you up and down very curiously because of the fact that he still can't like really comprehend like where you're getting all this stuff because remember, you look like commoners. So it's not just humans. You actually don't look wealthy. So that's why he's so suspicious about all this. And it's another reason why even though he's willing to buy it because he's getting a deal. This is all things that you would know because you're in disguise.
Yeah.
But he's still very confused. So yep.
Oh, you have a signet. I see. Sure.
And I will just let him know that we don't mean to be mysterious. We're just trying to keep our own safety and his safety in mind. We're somewhat ex-paramilitary.
He said, I see.
So I really appreciate you keeping our business a little hush hush. Obviously nothing bad, but we're under oath.
Did you show him the Neverember symbol?
I have not yet. I'm just saying that.
He says, "Well, I certainly hope so, because if I find out that this is all stolen goods," he said, "you understand that it's enough money that I would have to seek out and get retribution, correct?"
Oh, do not worry. We would not dream of bringing, if this was stolen, this amount of stolen good into the middle of one of the most powerful cities on the Sword Coast.
He said, "Well, I hope you appreciate that." He said, "So, is that it?"
Yes, I do believe that's it.
Out of character, John, if you want to sell the Greyhawk coins, feel free. I have one, so you have 299, I think, in there.
Yeah, we do have 299. I just don't know if Johnny wants them for
Have I seen?
a look.
I'll take one or two.
Let's see, you might want to.
Just-
Are they normal metal?
They're the bartering chips.
When I
Yeah. So he does say, so before you gentlemen go, is there anything that I could offer you?
Well, it depends what you have in stock.
So he goes through and he says, "So what are you looking for specifically?" And there is a jewel counter that he's standing over. So he shows you there's no diamonds here. He shows you sapphire. He shows you a bunch of like citrons and some other turquoise and other things, and then there's some jewelry that he shows you as well. And then he says, "Look," he says, "the most expensive items I have, and quite frankly, not necessarily open to everyone. However, you've done enough. You've done enough for me that I can certainly at least show you. And if you are interested, we could talk about it." But he does open up a case, and sure enough, he has diamond dust. He does have varying degrees quality of like diamonds. He even has a large enough diamond, brother, that you would know that this is obviously a diamond used for like true resurrection. He brags to you. So his eyes lit up and he says, I am the only shop within all of Neverember that's allowed to keep these as a sole proprietor. He said, normally, unfortunately, the city confiscates most of them. However, I have a direct deal with the Lord here, and I am able to offer these to private citizens such as yourself. And he smiles.
We're definitely quite interested in the diamonds, as we are purveyors of fine goods, and we do trade. And just looking over his inventory, do I see that he has any rings or necklaces or anything that would be enchanted in nature?
So no, he doesn't actually. And a matter of fact, the only diamonds that he has are by themselves. He doesn't have. I mean, he does give you. When you look over his jewelry, it's very improbable to know if anything's like a magic item or not. You can ask him directly if he has anything like that, but you can't truly tell because everything is super clean, everything's sparkly. It's very, very tough. You'd have to make arcana checks on every single one, and you have to hold them. So you'd have to ask to touch them and everything. So it's possible, but you just need to ask. It's not something that you could necessarily decipher without touching them.
Then I will ask if,
Yep.
because I'm definitely looking for diamond for revive. We are looking for diamond dust.
Yep.
So those will be the first two I ask for.
Hello?
So a single amount of diamond dust for non-detect is around 2,500 gold pieces, and this is him giving you a deal. And so what he does is he actually has the. He said, "Listen, my friends at the Mage Academy have actually set this up specifically." He says, you don't look like someone who would necessarily even care about this, but just on the off chance that you are, this is the most expensive things that I have." And he sells them by the vial. So the diamond dust, he has different vials, and for you, so in particular, and you can pick them up and do the arcana check and go through it. And even though you're not super familiar with the spell, you can gauge to some degree like how much you might need. And sure enough, the one that you think is the closest is a vial that he's labeled. It's around 2,500 gold pieces in these vials. So you could buy each vial for around 2,500 gold, and they do certainly have diamond dust inside of them. For the Revivify diamonds, they're lower quality, smaller diamonds. It's a single diamond that you need for Revivify in this case, and it does have inclusions and other things, and it's relatively small. It's only a 1.5 carat diamond for this. However, that one's a good like 5,000-6,000 gold pieces. But you don't know the exact price because he wavers when asking because he's still not sure he's going to sell you any of this stuff, but he's definitely interested. And he gives you like a vague thing. The true Diamond Resurrection thing is like absurdly expensive. It's like 100,000 gold pieces. That he says he's waiting for a special buyer for that. But he asks you again, and this is where we'll have to get into it. He says, "Are you serious about this? Do you actually want these?"
How much money have we just spent here?
He says, no, I'm more than happy to sell them. He says, that said, you have to understand that if any questions are asked, like I'm going to have to somehow explain that I purchased a bunch of questionable items from people that certainly don't look like they can afford any of it, and then they bought diamonds from me. He said, so I need to understand a little bit about what's going on. Like, what's the whole story behind this?
All you need to know is that we're a very let's say, adventurous bunch.
Okay.
With obviously morals to uphold, and we only seek to do good. We are not thieves. We are not unscrupulous folk that you know would seek to take these items from people who are only. You should not worry about them.
He said, well, he said, look, he said, in that case, and he gives you hard prices. So the diamond dust is going to be 2,500 gold pieces per vial. You'll have enough for one non-detect. To do the revivify, he's giving you a price of 5,500 gold per diamond, small enough to do that. The other diamonds that he has that you could use in the future become absurdly expensive as they go up in carat, but there is, for instance, he does have a diamond. He does have like he shows you a diamond that he says is worth 25,000 gold pieces. The diamond that you know that's big enough and pure enough for true resurrection is 100,000 gold.
I would definitely say we're interested in 2 vials of diamond dust and the 5,000 value diamond.
He said, okay. He said, yeah. He said, if you want to sell these for 10,000 gold, he said, that's fine. He said, listen, he said, I really, really hope the story of yours is real because, I mean, if this does come back to me, he said, it's going to be bad for me. So is there anything that you guys can do to make me more at ease before I make this transaction?
I pull out the signet of Neverember.
Okay. He says, "Oh," he says, "Thank God." He says, "At least it's sanctioned by Neverember." He says, "This." He said, "Sure." He said, "Matter of fact, I'll even give you a discount." He said, "I'll sell you all of it for 9,000 gold."
I greatly appreciate it, and
Don't insult.
we're sorry if we put you at ed. If you're not at ease, we are under binding contract that we cannot describe any of our adventures.
He said, "Oh, say no more, my friend." He said, "That is totally fine. I feel so much better." He said, "Good day, tell Lord Neverember. Thank you as well."
We also do have one slight request. You see, since we do have other contractors we work with, well, secrecy is key in our dealings.
He said, "Oh, of course." He said, "Of course." He said, I won't say a word." You believe him too. You think he's being honest.
Much appreciated.
Okay. All right.
Right for Reverend back in town, I'll be happy to call here.
Okay. All right, guys. So back to the other group. Is there anything that you guys want to do?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah. Go for it.
I don't know if I have the right listing here for the monodron. Is he able to detect whether whether someone is scrying or looking over me or my friends?
So you can ask. So if this was, so here's how it would work. You can ask the Modron if someone was scrying, and if it was ever famous enough to ever get written down in the future or otherwise, then yes, he would know.
I was going to ask him right now if he can see. I don't know. Does he have special?
You can ask him. You can ask him. Yeah.
Don't they have? Unless I have the wrong stat here, I have the familiar monodrone listed. I don't know what the actual stock block of this is.
You can
but
definitely
it has true sight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can definitely ask him. Yeah.
I'll ask him. Is someone watching or scrying on me or my friends?
So the Modron quizzically looks at you.
And I'm pointing as I say that.
Yeah. It quizzically looks at you and it says, "Wait, and it like starts like clicking and going through things, and it glows slightly, and it looks at you and it says, "Wait, that's the first question that someone's asked me in ages. You're asking me."
Yeah. You're a delightful little device.
And it starts clicking back and forth and going through things, and it's doing some kind of internal stuff. And it says, "Wait, I am I am me. I am single. I am a singular me. And it's going through and doing things. And Abel, you realize that it must have been like programmed with some kind of like logic loop to not see itself as like an individual, and whatever you've done is basically started to like I guess mess with that programming or unlock a portion of it, and it does go through and uh, it says what are you asking me?
Do you see with your eye anyone looking at me or my friends? And I'm pointing to Henri and Johnny and Grin.
Yeah. So it looks back and it says no. It says no, but it says do you know how scrying works?
A little.
He says, I don't see a scrying ball or a scrying tincture or any kind of scrying device next to you or in any of our vicinities. He said, however, if they did try to do that and it failed, I wouldn't be able to see it. If it succeeded, though, there would be a small shiny ball. And so Abel, as he's saying this, the Modron opens up its eye from the back, and you see all this clockwork, like a clockwork tunnel almost that almost looks like it's like a tube or something, and it basically displays an image of what the scrying ball would look like to you, and it shows that. And then it goes back, it locks itself in, it locks the eye in as well.
Oh, that was helpful.
And it says, well, it says you know that you have destroyed my internal programming.
Oh,
Whoops.
I did not know that.
It says, no, I like this better.
I'm sorry?
No, it says, no, it's okay. I am me. I am Modron.
Damn it, Abel, you just made Ultron. For real.
Anyway,
Do you want a different name than me?
It says yes. It says, and thank you.
You're welcome. If you see one of those balls, tell me, please.
It says, I will try. It's talking in a very mechanical, like monotone area, whatever. Abel, go ahead and do an investigation check on the Modron, though. I imagine you would try to do this passively
Okay.
after going through and looking at it, but just to see what's changed. Let's see if we can figure out what's changed with the Modron and how this affects it.
I'm sorry for creating Skynet, people.
As long as it's good Skynet, I'm in.
It's very low on our list of evil robots, so it's all right.
17. Yeah, true.
All right. So it looks like you have changed some of its internal function. You're looking through it. You see how it was like talking or whatever, and you just came over to ask to investigate, especially since it showed you the inner workings of its like tube that had all of the behind its eye that have all of its gears and other things going through it. And what you realized is that the Modron itself has repurposed some of its ability to have this sentient form of individuality at the sacrifice of it answering questions. It's like it's not completely plugged in to the back end like logic spring that it used to be necessarily, like back where it was. It still has information, but you've changed some of its abilities and all of that stuff by it being like this sentient like creature that that basically has like a will of its own. Because of that, you're going to have to just sit down at some point and do some more investigation to figure out what this thing is and how it works. You might now be able to ask it more questions about itself, you think, to try to figure this out. But it's no longer going to just straight up work like you ask it questions and it's going to know everything. because it has severed itself. It doesn't mean that you necessarily you figure out that there's a lot to this thing, so it's very possible that there could be a way to bring it back to how it was. There's also a way to maybe change it into different things as well. But you're just gonna have to find out more about these modrons and what they are and how they work and all that stuff. But it is different for now.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's like sitting there at his table, like half reading his book in like semi-confusion or trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Also, Chris, after we leave the shop, I'm going to swing by. I'm assuming Henri's parents are gathering their things at the Golden Nim.
Oh, so that's what I was about to tell you. No. So what ended up happening is he's rushing them out. So he made them go there, gather everything up quickly, and gated them out.
Okay.
So he's not giving them time. No. Yeah, they had a very, very small amount of time. So
All right. Well, in that case, I'm just gonna grab some general goods, just real quick. 5 tinder boxes, 100 feet of silk rope, 2,000 ball bearings, and 10 days of rations.
okay, yep.
245 silver
Gifts
pieces
for the
total.
children.
Well, I ran out recently of tinder boxes, so need to re-up.
So the specific. By the way, Abel. So what you have now, what you have in front of you now, just to be very, very clear, is going to have its own stat block at this point.
Okay.
So it's the same stat block as the mono drone. These are all modrons, but it's the same stat block as the beginning mono drone. And you can look it up in D&D Beyond, but it does have true sight.
I have under my extras, I have a monodrone familiar. I don't know if that's the correct stat block or not, but that's what's.
This one's the real monodrone, so you can look it up. It's got its own dagger, its own javelin. It's got like you'll see when you find it. I'll just link it to you. But that's what you have currently in possession. It now has its own stat block and all that fun stuff. Okay. Here, I'll give it to you. Okay. All right. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So, did you guys want to do your roll for? We can speed up if you want to do your copying.
I'm fine with that. I'm ready to giddy up and go. I know Brother and Kino still have some stuff they want to do, but I'm ready to make my roll.
Well, yeah. Go ahead and make your roll, and then we'll resolve that. Yep.
All right, here we go.
You could do it.
20.
Okay, there you go. Yep. Actually, if you got a nat 20, you said.
Yes, I did.
Oh, in that case, I'll even let you do this in half the time. So you did it in 2 hours. So I'll say that you were able to quickly go ahead and copy this down perfectly, and you were able to do it in half the time that it would normally take. Surprisingly, you'd like with Henri's help, you're able to like expertly like synergize through this, and it didn't take you as long as you thought. So in the 2 hour mark, you're finished. What do we need to do before leaving now? What's left to be unresolved?
We need to get the magic item map. I'm gonna hit a tailor real quick.
Okay, let's do that for. Let's do the magic item map first. So hold on one second. All right, so you guys go back to the vendor. Do you guys remember the original price?
20,000.
20,000.
Yeah, that is correct. So, okay, so you go back to him. He hasn't. By the way, he's not going to recognize you. So keep all that in mind. So you do go back to the vendor. What do you want to say to him? He's seen you before. Keep that in mind. This is the same one that you. He's seen some of you before. I should say that. But
Hi. Yes, we are here to inquire about. I'm just going to flash the signet. We're doing some business for our friends. We're here to pick up a map. They already discussed a price.
He said, "Are you?" He said, "You mean the map?" So you
I
have to
believe
give me a
so.
little. You have to give me a little more details behind what map you're referring to. He said, "I do. And you can tell that he's very impressed by the Neverember signet, but he wants to make sure that he's giving you the right item."
The one, the one that's made by someone that works closely with Volo, correct?
He said, "Yes, okay." He said, "I know exactly what you're talking about," and so he does go ahead and show you the map itself. He says, "Do you know how this works?"
I don't want to assume anything, but you attune to it and shows you the approximate location of an item nearby.
He says, "Kind of." He said, That's correct." He said, "One person within your group or party will need to familiarize himself with the map." He said it'll take approximately like a night to go through and really like figure this out. But once you have it down and once the map settles in, he said this is how it works. It'll give you locations, several locations sprawled along the map itself. Once you get closer to the locations, it will start to reveal specific items. Once the items are revealed, as you get closer, more clarity comes into them. Like more clarity basically gets magically written into the map. It will not give you a map of your surroundings as much as when you get there in close, you'll see what I mean. It will actually give you a small area in which the magic item exists. So, for instance, and he says the map always. He says, fortunately, every year that we make this map, I go through and we use one of the items that I currently have within my shop, and he sets down a ring. This happens to be. He says this is a ring that if you were to put it on, he said you would not you would be able to fall from a great distance and not hurt yourself. And he said, "Watch." And he takes out the map and he says, "I have myself have been able to attune to this one." And he shows you what he means. And what it does is it shows a very small area, and in that small area, the map starts to draw magically a really good replica of the current room you're in, and then it shows you exactly where that item is in impression of the room. But it only goes room by room. So, and then he says, what will end up happening is that once you get farther and farther away, it'll have this as an item on there. It'll say that there's a magic item within Neverwinter, and it'll give you an amount. And then in this case, there's only one. And as you get closer, it will start to reveal exactly where it is. So if you're willing to do this, he said, here's how it also works too.
Chris, is that the Ring of Featherfall?
Yeah, it is the Ring of Featherfall.
Branch Breaking gave us his ring, so wouldn't it show two of them?
Well, no. So it has to. It's only so he doesn't. Well, whoever's there would have to ask the question, but there's a reason why. Yeah, there is a reason why.
I would not ask that question because I don't want to show too much of what we have.
Yeah, this is attuned, but what he does explain to you though, this is attuned to specific items that Volo already has either found or knows where they are. He just hasn't been able to retrieve them because they're in incredibly dangerous places, and that's why it's only items that Volo himself has found and knows where they are. He just hasn't been able to retrieve any of them. He said there. By the way, he said that there are many items within this within this map. He says, however, he says just understand that I'm allowed to sell 5 of these a year. So there are presumably 4 other groups besides yourself that could have this. I'm not allowed to tell you how much I sold, and I am not allowed to tell you who owns the other maps. The same thing will happen if any other group asks me a question about you, gentlemen, for instance, buying this map. We're allowed 5. And he says, with that, he says, not only is your complete like anonymity is obviously something that we care about, but on top of that, what's truly important is that you won't actually know if an item has already been taken until you get into that area, and then it will just show up as missing from the map. So it'll say that there's a magic item here. You'll get into that vicinity, and then the magic item will basically disappear off the page. So you still have to go to that location just to check to see. He said, however, many, many locations have many, many magic items. And he opens up the map and he shows you in the map. And so literally there is at least one magic item within every one of the major areas on your map that you can see. However, in Icewind Dale, there are 12. In Luskin, when you're looking this over, there are 5. Neverwinter has 3, none of which are, and he explains this to you because I'm sure that somebody will ask this. He says, unfortunately, those are within Castle Never. He says, good luck with those. He said, no one here has been able to recover them, but you see how it works now. So,
Yes.
but there are 12 in Icewind. There are 12 in Icewind Dale up north.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think the people that gave us the money for this map are really gonna appreciate that, and we'll obviously relay all the information. And I have a pretty good memory, so I'll just describe how it works, and they'll see for themselves. They're pretty capable.
He says, good. Anything else you need from me?
I look at brother.
What else do you sell?
He said, well, he said, someone came by and bought a bunch of my magic items recently. He said, however, he said, I was able to get this back from one of our current adventurers. And he goes back into the back. It takes around like 10 minutes or so going through his stuff. And he does bring out a ring. The ring is it's not only incredibly ornate in nature, but it's also it also looks like it's a mix between gold and then so there's a spiny gold material that wraps around the ring itself, but the majority of the ring looks like it's like a glass crystal-y material. And he says, to be honest, he said, this ring does not work with Identify. He said, we know that it's magic, but it's broken. It's definitely some kind of broken or non-functional magic item. He says, I am willing to part with it, but just understand that these kind of items are dangerous. Whoever made this made it incorrectly or made it in a way that just is unpredictable. He said, we haven't actually had anyone brave enough yet to identify this because when we had the mages look at it, they told us that it was broken. So they did tell us that there's even a chance that identifying this item could potentially be dangerous. But he said, I'm willing to part with it. It could be amazing. We just don't know.
And how much?
He said 3,000 gold. This is one of the only useful things that I have, unfortunately. He said he does explain that a lot of his items were recently purchased.
I understand.
Yeah.
There's something dangerous and broken. Maybe 2,500?
He said,
I mean, understand we would have to hire people to look at it and possibly work on it. There's a chance that even if we were able to get it to a usable state, it would probably cost us thousands in labor and repairs and just working towards this. And it sounds like even very powerful minds are having difficulty grasping the nature of this.
He said, I'll sell it to you for 2,500 gold. He said, but listen, I feel bad even doing this. I do know one thing. I'll sell this to you, but you have to promise to purchase it, and then I'll tell you the other thing. He said, if you're willing to do that, then you can have it for 2,500.
Done deal.
He said, the person that actually put this ring on died. So be very, very careful. He was electrocuted to death. He said, understand that there is more to this than just wearing it. And obviously, I was going to tell you anyway, but I'm also obligated to make a sale here. He said, but just be very, very careful. We know for sure that the mages have already told us that we went to the Neverwinter Academy, but we also went to Lord Neverember's mages themselves, and they all are sure that this item will, properly fixed, be very, very useful and powerful. But for now, it's damaged or just made in terribly. We're not sure which one. So just keep that in mind. We don't think it's cursed. We just think that it's, made poorly in some way.
And
But it can be fixed.
you don't have any idea of who made it incorrectly?
No, as a matter of fact, the adventurer that brought this to us would not tell us a thing. So no, unfortunately not. A matter of fact, I wasn't even going to buy it. But he was honest, and he said that the last person that wore this did get electrocuted. So I was willing to do it because it is magic. We confirmed that it truly is magic. The ring is absolutely magic. But for now, I mean, the use can't be that you put it on and electrocutes you. That's why we think that it was made incorrectly. So,
And you
but
said
understand that if you were to give this to, say, your enemies, then of course maybe that would be useful. So,
yes, and you said an adventurer sold this to you. I'm surprised.
he said yes. He said I do deal with quite a few adventurers, fledgling adventurers mostly. But he said sometimes I deal with the real thing.
People still do that? They still. I mean, it seems like a very. I don't know.
He said,
dated-
"Oh, he said you would be completely surprised. It's like you have no idea. The person who worked with me to make this map, you said I can't like he's a very 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 famous adventurer named Volo. But he said, but that said, he said you're right. I mean, it's kind of a silly. It's definitely a silly career, not one that you can really like make a true living off of. Most people die well before their first couple of years doing it anyway. So."
Yes. Well, good luck to whichever adventurer was that. But yeah, I think this could prove to be an interesting task for well, not me. I'm very not versed in the arcane, but possibly a compatriot of ours.
He said, "Well, good luck with it. Don't put it on."
Thank you for
Yes.
your time.
Yep. Okay. All right, guys. Is there anything else that anyone wants to do?
Yeah, gonna tailor shop.
There was no other when that shopkeeper said that he had no other magical items. That ring was the only one.
The ring was the only one currently. Someone else had come in and purchased the stuff that you guys didn't, it seems like.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can do paper and ink for less than a gold, so half a gold. Oh, I'm sorry. So if you want an entire spell copying kit, let me see. Hold on. So the entire spell copying kit is actually more than just the paper and ink that it requires. It actually has like some arcane tools that allow you to basically not only draw the runes but also like focus some of the weave into them and stuff. I think they're 25 gold, but let me just double check.
It's normally 20 gold per spell level to copy the spells.
Oh, that might be right then. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, guys. It's another source book. Hold on. It's fine. We're gonna find out.
There.
Yeah. So they get So it doesn't translate though to 5e. Hold on. Shit. That's fine. She does have a kit that's able to do this. So basically you can copy 5 spells with this kit before it's completely expended, but it's 100 gold. So it's the same as your 20 gold per spell anyway. But it's basically a kit that would allow you to copy up to 5 spells.
5 spells of any level, or is it like 5 slots, 1 for first, then 2 spots for second? Like,
let me see. While I look this up though, is there anything else that you guys wanted to do?
I think
No, but you two in particular. Is there anything else besides this?
we just want to get the ink, and if I Yeah, I think we're good. I don't know. I could try to copy detect magic, but I think Henri has that, so I can just wait till she has it. Or did you buy a scroll for it though? Oh, okay. Well, then I might take.
Yeah, because it's I think it's
Not
50
for the time
gold.
to do
By
that.
the way, I think it's 50 gold per level anyway. But I'm double checking something because this seems off to me. But
I might be wrong. It's been a minute since I looked. I think it was like Monday. I think that sounds more accurate.
It's like
Yeah.
a lot at the beginning, and it doesn't really scale up.
Yeah, it's always 50 gold per level plus 2 hours. So no, it doesn't matter what spell level you are. It's the same cost though. It's just a kit that allows you to do 5. So I'm sorry guys, it would be 250 gold for 5 spells. Um, but but if you want to, like you could like stock up on these because it's not like they go, it's not like they go any higher. But the other advantage too is that when you're leveling, when inside your books, you're actually able to like consume these. You just have to like pay the trainer to go through it, but you're able to do this when you level as well.
Perfect. Henri, how much cash you got left?
So for instance, when you guys are actually in your books, the teachers that you have will be willing to sell you the components to basically copy spells if you needed to as exact price. So it's not like you wouldn't have access to these otherwise, but it's only when you level. Yep. Right. No, they just give you I'm sorry, they just give you the amount of component. Like, let's say that you needed to copy a spell. Let's say you have a spell, but you don't have the components to copy it. The next time you level, you can purchase those components from the book people, essentially, to copy the spells. Right. That's right. That is exactly right. The paper and ink, it's actually a little more involved. It's not just paper and ink. It's actually it's basically some like crystal like pen and some other thing that you have to go through and like copy these spells through. So it's a little more than that. That's why it's so expensive. But you can also get this from those people as long as you're able to give them the gold. Yeah, yeah. But you could buy it here too. It is
It says
50 gold per spell level. So yeah. So if you wanted to get like for instance 10, it'd be 10 times 50. Yeah.
Also, I made a note to myself. You said to remind you about the description of the book that Henri identified at the end of last session. She did so during the long rest.
Oh right. You're talking about the yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
She didn't attune. She didn't attune to it. She didn't read it. She just cast identify with a ritual.
Yep. Yeah, so it does have so essentially Henri, what you would know about the book once you cast identify on it is that it is a it is a powerful book that is used for summoning. And it is able to summon essentially monsters outside of the book. But the only way to know which monster specifically is just to attune to it. But it's a book of summoning.
I could take it back now if you want.
That's what you would know, Henri. So
don't tell anyone. None of us are trustworthy.
yeah.
What? I probably would have taken it back before Karsus showed up so that we didn't have it out. Nothing I yeah, I don't nothing I will do will change anything with now that I have that information, but
Okay.
good to know and yeah, duly noted.
once everyone's ready to leave the library, I just want to go grab ice climbing gear and that kind of stuff, so we're ready, and then meet up with Brother and Kiono.
Sure. Yeah, that stuff is relatively cheap. It's like 5 gold, so that's fine. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll chip in for one of those too.
Okay.
Climbing is kind of my thing.
All right, guys. All right. All right. We can begin the campaign very shortly. Awesome. So, yep.
We call Karsus.
All right. Is there anything else anybody wants to do before we leave, though? This is all. I mean, to be honest, this is all pretty important stuff, so it's fine. And go ahead, brother. What did you want to do before?
I'm gonna hit up a tailor shop.
All right. Yep.
First, I'm gonna pick out a.
Would I get a chance to identify?
Identify. Sorry, Abel, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. The monodrome.
Yes. Yeah. He did. It just
Yeah,
changed.
but he just changed.
The very nature of him changed. So yeah. If you want to identify him, you can. Are you casting like a ritual, or are you just casting the spell?
I would cast. Well, if what's the policy of the library? I would assume a ritual is, not done, but is just quickly casting it. Okay.
Yeah, I think quickly casting it would probably be okay.
I mean, it is a
As long as it's
minute
not
long still.
Yeah, no. As long as it's not an offensive spell, it's fine.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it's you have to like go through it. I mean, it's not like something that's completely silent. But if you wanted to find a quiet corner and cast it, that's fine. You can go through that.
I would do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It does. So you do now have the stat block of the monodrone. The only difference though is that once a day you're able to activate its like questionability before it changes again. So it can find a question. It does take your roll. Any kind of like history question, it does take your roll. It's just not connected anymore. You know this for sure. So it's going to be able to answer the questions that it actually has stored within it. It just doesn't have access to every single little thing until it's changed. However, when you went ahead and did the identify, the one thing that it does tell you about this creature, even though it is sentient, is that it's got 6 different phases. So now it's got 6, and you've already unlocked 2. There's 4 more phases that it has to unlock. They're just secret. So
I don't know if further rolls are insight or anything in here. Is my sense if I change its mode back, am I wiping its individuality or anything like that?
Not necessarily. No. So changing a mode doesn't necessarily change its. It doesn't like kill it. For instance, changing its mode does change the very nature of what it is, and you don't know how often you could do that without maybe wearing on the gears themselves. That said, though, each condition is different, and you've learned the one condition to change it from basically an answering automaton that knows everything, but like when it's like plugged into its like logic domain, you don't know how it got there, but you do certainly know that to get it out of that, you just have to ask it a question about itself individually or talk to it like an individual and ask it to do something personally. That means there must be other hidden things to get all the other ones. So yeah. The only thing that the only way that you're going to be able to figure this out outside of just guessing on what they are is if you either find other of them, or we get to go there, or you find someone who knows maybe how these things work, other things like that. So okay. All right. So anyway, brother, what was the other thing that you wanted to do? I'm sorry.
All right, so tailor shop.
Yep.
Just really quick, just keeping to the color scheme of the temple, I'm going to pick out, we'll just say a set of fine clothes, fine leather gloves, some boots, a larger cape, and I'm going to ask the counter if they have warm weather gear for, say, a small dog or maybe a growing mastiff.
Yep.
That has wings.
No, they do. They definitely would be able to do that, of course. So, Yeah, so if you give them the exact dimensions, they'll actually have something made custom for you. So it can be perfect, but you do have to give them the dimensions. And then that's only going to end up being like 3 to 4 gold, even as a custom piece for leather.
Is the idea is to get a cold weather gear for both of these small dragons.
Oh, so you want right? And no, of course, but you also want fur and other things, so it'll be like 5 to 6 gold. Yeah, it'll be like 6 gold to get everything set up, and you can totally do that. Yeah.
You might want to go 10 just to make them happy.
Yeah.
But that's what I was about to say. If you need it today, like as in like made immediately on the spot, you're actually looking at 3 times the price, but they'll do it. They'll rush it.
Yeah, I'll give them 30 gold and call
Yeah.
it for the
Okay.
on the cold.
Yeah,
gear for the
yeah,
dragon.
they'll do it right in front of you, and it only takes around 45 minutes to get this done because they already have the leather made. They just have to cut it and then like adhese everything. It's still going to smell, and it's still going to smell like strong adhesive, and it's still going to need some time. But yeah, it's fine. You can get that done and then let it sit. It'll be done. It'll be done, ready to wear in like 4 or 5 hours.
That's fine, and I'll ask for gift wrapping for both of the small sets of cold weather gear.
Okay, cool. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Do we need anything else in terms of small gear?
Do we
Not
have
that I
the
can think
coats?
of off the top of my head.
By
Do
the
we
way,
have the
guys,
coats? Do we-
by the way, because we did not get into Icewind Dale as much as I hoped to this session, and because we didn't really get to like start the real campaign anyway, if you want, my other group can't play because there's already like 3 people that are out because of traveling. If people have time, I can do another session tomorrow, and we can really get into this.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm free.
And
have
it will be much more fun than going through our inventory and going through all this stuff. But okay, good. All right, that's fine.
Oh,
So
I probably
This is
can.
long overdue.
When is that? When would that be?
yeah, so it would be 7:30 to 10:30. Can you guys do that? If not, I'm semi-flexible on the time. Like if we wanted to do it at the same time, I'm fine with that too.
Tomorrow's out for me.
Okay.
I'm free.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. It's kind of not fair though to do it if like one person can't like make it because that's totally not fair, especially considering it's going to be an important session. So that's fine though. No worries.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll go till we can on this one too. Okay.
Yeah, my kids are making me dinner, so we can go as long as need be.
Yay! All right.
All right. Cool.
Should
Okay.
we be
Go
worried?
kids.
You're gonna smell smoke in like a little bit.
My wife is supervising, so we're okay.
Oh, okay.
She can cook.
And
pretty
the
well.
food poisoning shouldn't kick in until well after the session.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys about it tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you underestimate my resilience.
All right, we're walking to the library.
Yep. Okay.
Johnny's isn't, but Torrens is very high.
All right. Okay, so you guys do call Karsus back?
Yes.
We do once we've all gotten everything together, and I just slip Henri one of the wrap packages and give her a wink.
Abel,
Okay.
Abel, we
Cool.
got a little project for you.
For your sweetums.
Oh, I've got some news too. But we can talk about that later.
So Karsus literally comes to in front of you in a puff of what looks like dark, like shadowy smoke. He just appears like instantly. And he says, "All right, listen, I really need to get back to what I was doing. Are you ready to go?"
Yeah. Is everything all right? Should
Can
we
I
be
make
worried?
an Arcana check or a religion check about that puff of smoke?
You can. And while you're doing that, go ahead and make your Arcana check. But while you're doing that, he says, "All right, so I'm going to open up gate. You guys go through it. I need to get back to what I was doing." And he does. He starts to cast. It takes him about a minute or so to go through and set up this gate. You can see on the other side, it does look like it's a snowy village on the other side of it. And he says, "Okay." He says, "Good luck. You have the note." He said, "I'm sure we'll meet up at some point."
Yes. Well, good luck.
All right. What was your roll, Johnny?
Crit
I-
fail.
I
Yeah,
got
it's
an
okay.
11.
Magic, keep harder.
It's okay because this was hard anyway. Yeah, you just have no idea. You have no freaking idea what that magic was or how it works, or why he didn't use gate to come
20,
in. Or
28 by Abel.
23.
Natural
That was
20.
an
All right.
actual 20.
You got a nat 20 though, Abel.
Yeah, not 20.
All right. Karsus was literally coming from the Shadowfell. So he opened up a
Holy
gate. He
shit.
opened up a gate from the Shadowfell. You're not exactly sure what spell does that, and you're not, and it's not gate because it's clearly not arcane gate. But he was currently within the Shadowfell doing something clearly. So, but that's all you know. Unfortunately, it's magic that's far, far outside of your understanding. But you're sure that that was Shadowfell that you were saying.
When he comes through, I'll just say, that didn't look like Bryn Shandar.
He ignores that, but he does say he says good luck everyone, I wish you well, and then by the way, before he leaves, he says, whoa, he says, you bought that map, really, he says, you bought, can I see it?
No.
He says,
sorry.
oh, he says, I can already see it, I just want to see what's on the map.
Then there's no point in showing you. Now, is there?
Well, see, that's the problem. To see what's on the map, I need to see it with my eyes. He said, he said, I'll compensate you. He said, I'll give you
Would
how.
be trying to help us.
He said, how much?
Okay.
How much money do you want for me to look at the map?
I don't know what you're talking about. What map?
He said, fine. He said, you don't want to show me the map, that's fine.
You do have a
Prob-
ring you can look at.
Yeah, he said, no, it's okay. It's probably smarter because he's like, there's things on the map that I could use too. He said, that map is not the easiest thing to buy. He said, I tried, but he said, whatever. He said, okay, so maybe when we get back, we can talk about the map and we can work something out. All right.
Maybe. Yes.
But you can think.
Okay. All right. Well, as those things come out, he literally gets sucked back into the shadowy whatever it was. It basically looks like tendrils of like shadowy smoke, and he does get sucked back into it. He's gone. The gate is still open though.
Where did that all happen, by the way? Where did he jump?
He
jump
literally
out?
did it right outside. So he didn't care. He did it right outside where you guys were meeting up. So in the middle where everyone could see. So
Oh,
so
hey.
the gate. Yeah, I was gonna say the gate is open. So yeah, you might want to go through
I
before.
walked through the
Yeah,
gate.
yeah.
If this was right out in front of the library, I would not have mentioned Bryn Shandar.
Gotcha. Yep.
I thought this
No, that's
was
fine.
somewhere private.
It wasn't actually outside of the library. It was wherever everyone met up with him. So you still had to meet up with brother. Yeah, you had to meet up with brother anyway. So you're just in the middle of the square. So that's fine. So as the last person goes through, the portal is closed. It's obviously made for that. So it's not open. It's not like somebody could chase you through. But you did notice there were other onlookers looking as this happened. But anyway, as you guys go through, everyone ends up coming in right to the edge of town here. So let's get your miniatures.
I look back at Grin for just a second before the portal closes.
Everyone
And I-
did go through, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I look confused at Kino, but I go through.
I know.
I jokingly push Kino towards the portal.
Don't. I slap him. I jump sky high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or to kick her through.
Just sigh. I just sigh and step through. All right, you get pushed through one portal, and then
From
you're
now on, we all have to pretend to get shoved through portals just to mock her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I step through without avoiding shoves with my coat on.
All right.
It's not hard when you don't have
Could have been in Greyhawk.
when you don't have a raging barbarian trying to block you going back.
Oh no, don't be bitter.
Abel, we found an interesting item.
Oh?
Yeah, it needs some fixing.
It may be better to shut it off in more protected places. We're a little exposed here.
So immediately when you guys go through the portal, the first thing that you get hit with is like the bitter cold. It's windy. It's very, very cold. It's actually much darker from where you came. Your eyes are starting to adjust. You're on the edge of what looks like a forest, with like just snow and trees and everything else, but you can clearly see that there's a decently sized, at least, settlement right in front of you. However, as you look out into the water, that's right next to you with these piers, it's frozen solid. Even as you start looking at the boats, they are clearly not going anywhere. They're frozen right to where they're from. It is definitely cold enough where it's biting. I mean, it's uncomfortable. And it's the wind is going at a roughly like 20 miles per hour, like blowing past you. It's not snowing, thankfully, but it's jolting like how cold it is from up here from where you guys currently were. And let's get. Sorry, I'll let you guys go ahead and talk amongst yourselves while I do something. Go ahead.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
Should we
so-
pull out that piece of paper?
sure. Who wants to start?
We want to get lodgings first, get our bearings.
Yes, and
That's fine.
let's make sure before we bed down, whoever is playing the role of cartographer, I point to the magic map, has that on their person.
Does anybody have an issue with me taking the map?
No.
Nah.
If when we get some downtime, can I go over it? I'd like to see like what magic items, if we can see what they are, or just where they are.
I want to see if it syncs up with the Talixen as well.
Yeah. So, if you guys do want to look at the map, by the way, one thing, brother, that you'll notice is that it doesn't list out the magic items, just how many there are in each location. And did you look at the map when you got here?
I'd say
Not
we're
yet?
gonna
Okay,
keep
that's
it
fine.
closed until after we're behind closed doors.
Okay, that makes sense.
We're on it blowing away and all that wind out here.
Yeah, it's so as you guys start going through the town here, the piece of paper that Karsus gave you does become warm. And it's just warm enough that it starts to like envelop like a small radius around who's holding it, by the way?
Who?
I think brother didn't.
Yeah, Bill.
Donnie.
Brother's holding it, right?
Yeah.
So, brother, the I mean, you don't necessarily feel any better. However, everyone around brother feels just a little bit warmer. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, Henri, if you get like right on top of brother, you actually start to feel okay. You start to feel definitely better. Let me turn this down a little bit.
I also have an aura around me.
Set
Yeah,
positive.
explain it. Yeah.
An aura flies.
It's actually protection. You're running a little bit warm. Your radiator might be leaking or something.
It's not
Yeah,
my
so
fault driven design.
So, brother, the one thing that the paper does besides vibrate and do whatever it's doing there is it starts to basically, and it's going to take a little bit, you can tell, but it's starting to like write down a face of a figure. No name yet,
Just the face.
just the face.
Also,
Shall we go find more permanent lodgings while we're here?
yes, and it would
Yeah.
also be important. We got the face of another contact that we're probably going to want to avoid now that we're up here.
Yeah, that's right.
I also have to find mine
Oh.
as well.
It's drawing it still, and it's not finished, so it's not something that's like recognizable yet. But it's working on it. It's just going pretty slow.
I would probably reach into the pack and pull out the paper that Jarlaxle gave us and say, yeah, let's make sure not to alert this person that we are up here if we happen to run across them.
Yep. Yeah. So the draw. So I mean, do you guys want to wait for the drawing, or do you want to go ahead and just find lodgings?
Go ahead and
Let's-
find
We're gonna
lodgings
find
for-
lodgings. So
Let's
Yep.
walk and look.
All right. Okay. So as you guys start to walk, so it looks like these are a bunch of huts. They could be living quarters, but you're not sure. And then as you start to look around this area here within town, there looks like a main street or so. And just keep in mind that it's like pretty uncomfortable. Like as you start to walk through, this is a good 2 feet of snow. So everyone's trudging through it. You're a little wet. It's very, very cold. There's a large building here. And the neat thing now that we have this fully in 3D, you guys actually get to tell me what building you think you want to enter. No one is outside, by the way. It is cold, and there's just you can't even tell if it's nighttime or not. It's dark, but you don't.
Does anything look like an inn?
With my
So
dark vision, can we see any signs or any tavern lodgings?
So there,
Symbols?
so there aren't actually any signs at all that you can see, like for instance in this building, but you do see that there's a fire like lit inside of the building, so it's presumable that they could be open. There's also a much larger building down here. Same thing. You can see that the firelight going through these things. Uh, you're just gonna have to knock if you want to
Do
find
any of
out.
them appear to have a stable?
So you're looking around and looking for a stable, and I don't know if you can see the stream, but this is exactly what you see. So you do see that there's this little area with 2 gallows up in the middle of town.
There's no one in the gallows, right?
No one's in the gallows. No, they're empty. And then you do see what looks like some dead trees and like frozen over well in this section. And then there's these houses. They look like houses that people would live in, not necessarily taverns or anything like that. Same thing with this house here. But again, the town looks like it's built more so out of necessity than out of luxury or any kind of I guess even entertainment or fun. Like everything is built very purposely because you're deep in the north and because presumably this is a very dangerous, inhospitable place. The one thing you do notice though is there are 2 sleds. Now it looks like there are these like basically ropes tied up for animals, maybe dogs, you're not sure, or wolves or something else, but they're also nowhere to be seen. However, as you get closer to this building, you can hear that there's absolutely people inside of this. There's kind of like a rowdy, kind of ruckusy kind of like sound.
The
there
sleds have
anyone
any
out on
kind
the
of
street?
gear or anything on it?
No one's on the street at all. No one. It's dead quiet. Besides this building that has a bunch of people that seem like they're like having fun inside.
Did it seem like most of the buildings have fires going in them, or only very few do?
No, it does seem like most of the buildings have fires going in them. The houses, sometimes you're not able to tell. However, like for instance, this one in particular definitely has a fire going in it. This one does too. As you're looking at it, you're not sure about this one, but any of the ones with windows or whatever, there's people inside. Yeah.
I would guess the one that's loudest that seems like the best place. It wouldn't be disturbing, at least.
Yes.
Which is the one over here. Yep.
Before we go in, though, let me do a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are we going to go into this big house here?
I conflicted. It seems like a specific kind of place. I think maybe we should check the middle building in the center of town. That's the medium-sized one, but that's just my gut reaction.
Yeah. So as you guys are talking amongst yourselves, the note finally completes itself. It says Hill Trollbane, and then it has a picture of what looks like older dwarf, a very distinct older dwarf, full beard. You'll be able to recognize this person when you see them.
All right, I'll show the picture around to everyone else.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Helen
Troll-
Trollbane.
and
No, Helen. HLIN. Yep.
Just let me know I don't have a preference as to one building or the other. Just let me know before we go into the one we went to.
Anybody else have thoughts on it?
The middle one?
No strong feeling, but the one that seemed to have people seemed like the best one to go to.
It's up to you guys. What would you like to do?
I mean, the middle building's on the way to the big building, right? So we might as well check it.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's fine. So you guys start to walk over to the middle building, and you open it up, and sure enough,
Before
go
we
ahead.
open the door, I'm just going to cast Divine Sense.
Yep. Okay, so you cast Divine Sense, and there are no fiends, celestials, undead within this
Consecrated
place.
or desecrated land anywhere
Neither.
within 60 feet. Perfect.
Yeah, neither. Yeah, neither of that. So you walk in, and you go to open up the door, and it is locked, but you are able to like see within like the little creases, and it looks like this would have been like a tavern, and there's lights on, but it doesn't look like there's anyone inside this. It does look like it would have been a tavern though, but it is locked. But you can see within like the little bit that it would have been some kind of tavern or something.
Well, it just looks like they're closed then.
I'm gonna pound on the door. Hello?
Yep.
Oh my god.
So you do that, and after like 5-10 minutes, no response.
I could try and force the door open.
I don't think we should break in anywhere since we, kind of don't want to stick out any more than we need to.
We should just go to the larger
Mhm.
dwelling.
Okay.
Yeah, where we're hearing all the noises from.
All right. So you guys walk over. You open up the door, and sure enough, there are tons of people. Who's walking in first?
Johnny.
I'll walk behind Johnny.
All right. So Johnny and Henri, you guys go in first, and you. Oh, not Henri. Gotcha. So Johnny, you walk in, and you immediately. Right. But Johnny walks in first. So Johnny, you walk in and you see immediately this room is filled with people. There's like 30, 40 people all having a great time. It's clearly late, by the way, or at least late to them. And they're talking amongst themselves. There's a bunch of drinking going on. There's a barkeep immediately to the front of you that's actually standing here. Let me put him down for you guys. Where is he? Let's see. Sorry. Weird. Hold on one second, guys. All right. So there's a barkeep behind the bar. He sees that you've just come in, and he waves you in. He says, "Please come in. Come in. Shut the door."
I go in and sit down at the bar and wait for everybody else to come in.
All right.
I walk in and sit down next to Johnny.
All right. Is everybody else coming in, or are you guys staying outside?
Oh, I come in.
All right, it is considerably warmer in this bar. Everyone feels like a sigh of relief as they come in and they go through this, and whoever's last to come in does shut the door, as he asks, I assume.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yep. So he says, "Ah, haven't seen you guys around here." He said, "Are you new in town?" By the way, the disguises are still on. Just keep that in mind. The disguises are still there, so it's going to be rather awkward when those go off. But yeah. Okay. He says, so where are you coming from?
Far travelers from the south.
He says, I see. He says, have you been to the Tin Towns before?
No, we're first-time visitors. Here just to do a couple odds and ends and as needed.
He said, I see. He says, well, we have a couple different things on the menu tonight. We have a special with knucklehead trout. And he says, if you want to get a table, he said, I would suggest that you sit as close as you can to Old Bitey. But other than that, you can sit, of course, wherever you'd like to. He said, he says, if you are new, he says one of the things about this restaurant tavern is that the fish The fish over there on the wall, if you're lucky and you stay here long enough, well, sometimes it starts to talk and sing. That's why, if it were me, I'd like to, if it were me and you haven't been here before, see if you're able to like sit at one of the tables and you look over. There is like patrons sitting in two of the seats. He said you'd have to split up or whatever, but I would suggest getting at least to see the show if it happens. He said we don't really control the fish; it just does what it wants to. But that's one thing to keep in mind. And he said also, we do have a special. He said we have knucklehead trout, and we also have salamander on the menu. So he said I would suggest that you do the knucklehead trout personally, but it's of course up to you. And they do, and he does mention that they have like an ale grog, which is like an Orkin grog, on tap in the barrels today. But if you come back tomorrow, they'll have different brews.
Order a drink for everyone at everyone in our party, and I'm going to see if they have any rooms available. We would all like rooms, preferably as close to each other as possible.
We may share if necessary.
He said, unfortunately, he said, we're just a restaurant here. However, he said that you can go over to our partner location. He said, I'm probably going to have to go over there with you, though, because I don't know that they'll let you in now. It's a little late. He said, but I can definitely get you a room, but we're going to have to go walk across the street. I'll have someone watch the bar, and a little later, once you guys eat and go through and get warm, we can look into getting you a room.
Sounds like a plan. I think we should have some drinks, eat some food, and then let's go get some rest, unless anyone is in a rush to take a nap.
No, it sounds good to me. Although we just glazed over the fact that what is Old Bitey? Old
He said
Bitey's
here.
the name of the fish?
He said here. He said I'll show you. And he does walk over. And keep in mind that this room is full of people, but right here on the wall is what looks like a rather large knucklehead trout. It looks like it's been stuffed and hung on the wall itself. This is the best I could do, by the way, with this. And the fish itself does look quite dead. It looks completely dead, stuffed, and hung on. It is not moving. It hasn't said a word. He says there. He said the story is, and he said this existed even before the current owner purchased the place. However, the story is a mage just cast a spell on this fish a while ago, and now every now and then it sings and dances for us. He said, however, and he says, if you want to know the whole story behind this, he said you'll have to wait. You'll have to sit down and eat and wait. But I'll bring the owner over and he could tell you the whole thing.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Take our food and drink in the meantime.
Are there other people at those tables right around there?
There's several. So, Johnny, if you go, yeah,
I'm gonna go over there and attempt to bribe them and ask them to move for
Why you bribing?
50 gold.
This is our first night.
Because we need to be closer to each other. It's fine, and my identity will be different in like 4 hours.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just sit at the bar and watch.
So there's a man and a woman sitting at that table. They're clearly on some kind of like either date or they're dating each other or they've known each other, and they're the ones that are sitting there. The table is clearly meant for 6 people, but they're taking up the whole thing. What would you like to do, Johnny? How much would you like to give them? All that fun stuff.
I'm gonna put 50 gold next to the gentleman and then whisper in his ears, you could have a better date if you sat maybe closer to the fireplace.
So he does.
He listen to your stories.
So he is absolutely going to take you up on that. So let me describe the man first. So the man is maybe 23, 24 years old. He's clearly a fisherman by his clothing. Doesn't seem like he's too bright, and clearly does not look like he has a bunch of money. That said, he sees the coin, perks up, and he says, "Oh, Mabel, we are moving." And he does it super, super quickly. He takes your money. He goes all the way over to the end of the bar, and you guys have the table to yourselves.
I whistle for everybody to come over.
Okay.
Yep.
Got a table, everybody.
Pick up my mug and my plate, and I walk over.
Cool deal. All right, so you guys walk over, and so a middle-aged woman comes up to you in like 3 to 4 minutes, and she asks everyone what they want. So the knucklehead trout is only 2 gold up here, which is actually pretty cheap. Like you guys know, the knucklehead trout back in Neverwinter goes for a considerable amount more. As a matter of fact, it was one of the delicacies on the menu when you guys were at the thing. So it must be so cheap because they're of course right here by the source, and because it's like readily available. But it's going to be very, very good. So she asks you what you guys want, though. She does have that. She has bread. She has the normal ale, and she has like a hard cheese. And the entire meal is only 2 gold. So
Do you
I want
have
the
any dragon
knucklehead trout
steaks?
and the
she,
salamander.
yeah, she looks at you and she says, no, sir, we do not have that."
I want to try
Okay.
some salamander too.
Wait, what
Yeah,
don't they have?
knucklehead trout and salamander. I want to take a taste. They don't have any dragon meat.
Yeah, I'll ask for a sampler of all that stuff and ask for it to be
Yeah.
back for later.
I'll do one of the same.
Same.
And keep the drinks coming.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
I'll take it.
Yes.
Okay.
Arm wrestle grin for it.
Yeah, but
Well,
it keeps you warm.
after so once you guys start going through and eating everything around like the 15 to 20 minute mark, an older gentleman comes over to you and he says, these are the people that just came in, huh? And
Yes.
he says, well, what brings you to the North Look?
Our business is our own.
Here looking for a friend.
Oh my god, that silence was palpable.
Yeah, so it is, by the way, and it is very noisy and rowdy. Who has the highest passive perception in the group, by the way? Yeah, what is
14?
the highest passive perception now that Eyes is gone? What is it?
15?
Probably brother.
That's fine
15.
with
You,
a 16.
oh, so brother, the one thing that you would notice with a 16 in passive is that there are quite a few people within this tavern that look like they could be not very reputable criminals. Like I mean, we're talking maybe close to like 60% of them. Like there's a bunch of normal townspeople here, but there's also a bunch of people that just look like they're not trustworthy, or perhaps running from something. Some of them that look even like a tiny bit dangerous. And if that ever comes up and becomes more relevant, I'll give you better subscriptions. But that's one thing that you do notice. So
Oh, is anybody looking at us or paying close
no.
attention?
No, as a matter of fact, no. For now, nobody. Your disguises seem to be working pretty well because no one's really taken an interest in you. Keep in mind, everyone in the group is currently male, and they're also you're in like kind of like disheveled like commoner clothing with completely unremarkable, like nobody's like too no one looks charismatic, no one looks like they're attractive, you know what I mean? You look very, very mundane and normal. But anyway.
Did Karsus give us a time frame for the spell?
You did not.
They want to proceed to for the night. We've been traveling for a very long time.
Does disguise cover the clothes we're wearing? Or
Yeah.
whatever spell?
This one does. This one does. Yeah, you're not in plate mail, for instance. The only problem with that, Kino, is, and you've been doing this the whole time, you still have to be careful because it doesn't basically take the sound away, but you've been careful. So yeah.
I'm
Say
wearing
we
wearing
leave
plate
for like
mail
an
and
hour,
yeah,
and
sure.
then go to the tavern and
Well-
get our rooms.
So the owner has already come up to you anyway, and he says, "So I heard you want to hear about Old Bitey."
Yes,
Spin
please
your
regale
tail. I drink more ale.
He does point up. Yeah, he points up to the fish, and he says, "Well, he says this is Old Bitey. He was pulled. This single knucklehead trout pulled many fishermen right to their deaths in the Mare Dolden. He said, finally, it was caught by a rogue named Kintyre and her companion. I don't remember." Some kind of human druid. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he called himself the Maverick. They hauled old Bitey to the North Look, and they were going to cook it. But I ended up buying it, and I had it stuffed instead. However, some prankster wizard or something cast a spell on the fish. Probably, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. It's been a long time, and now sometimes he sings for us.
Huh.
He said,
Is
"Yeah."
this a fisherman's tale? I've heard they are unreliable.
He said, "I'm sorry. Is this a fisherman's what?"
Is this a fisherman's tale? I've heard those are unreliable.
He said, no, sir. No, sir. Ask anyone in this place. I assure you, this is 100% real. He said, unfortunately, I don't control the fish, so he's just going to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. But yeah, he does sing. I promise.
Hmm.
Can you get him to do it now?
He said, I wish I could. He said he sings multiple times a night, even when we don't want him to sing. So trust me, when it happens, everyone will get quiet. They love to hear the fish sing his silly song. But yeah, it's the same song every time, by the way.
What's the
And he
song?
sings in what language?
He sings. He actually sings in common, and he says, "I'm not really a good singer, but I've heard the song enough that I definitely know the words." And he goes to say them, but he doesn't have to, because immediately as he goes to tell you guys, literally a light lights up right on old Bitey. And by the way, it is certainly magic, Abel. Like the thing you notice, there's no light source here. It's a magic light, and and as if cast in like radiant light, the fish goes, there's a place I'd like to go, further up on the river flow. Where it is I do not know, must be under all that snow. And that's it. And then it just goes back to how it was on the wall. Everyone stops what they're doing. They start clapping. They start clapping they everyone's pauses. They turn around. They start like clapping. People start like laughing hysterically. You can tell. You can actually tell, though, brother, that people had made bets on when he was going to sing, because money starts exchanging hands. But other than that, yeah, that it did sound exactly like that. It's a bit out of tune. It's clearly meant as like a joke. But yeah.
Hmm.
He says, anyway, he says, I remember the words. I don't know if you guys remembered it, but the song, as we just heard, is, there's a place I'd like to go, farther up the river flow. Where it is I do not know, must be under all that snow. And that's what he sings over and over and over again. I told you I wasn't lying.
Mm-hmm. No, and I've only had a drink, so it's not that.
He said, he said, anyway, go ahead. He says, anyway, I heard that you were looking for a room. Unfortunately, we actually don't have any. This is just a restaurant. As a matter of fact, upstairs is more is more things, and you have to understand that we're the only thing open at this hour too. That's the other thing, if you're not used to visiting Brian Shander, especially as of recent events, things tend to close really, really early. He said, that said, you should be careful too. You know, people have gone kind of missing and dead recently. So I'd hate that to happen to you folk. You seem like you're good folk, but just the bartender's already told me he's going to walk you over to the inn, which is great. So I'll have him do that, and we'll get you in there. Sometimes they don't answer when guests knock. We have to like get him in through the back door. So
Well, I'm sure you wouldn't have us sleep in the cold. But
he said no. As a matter of fact, I mean, to be honest, if you did, I'd be worried that you wouldn't wake up the next morning. It gets really, really cold here.
all right. So let's go talk to this innkeeper so we make certain that doesn't happen.
Okay. All right. All right. So as as you guys go to walk outside with the bartender, you see that there's what looks like a darker complexed man, middle aged. He's completely bald. He's got like a blue uniform on with a leather cape, and the cape has like white fur that's coming out of it too. And he stops he stops everyone. He stops the bartender, he stops the whole group, and he says, visitors? And the bartender says, "That's right, Sheriff. We're just sending them over to the inn. They just came here." He looks everyone over, and he says, "And where's everyone from again?"
South.
South.
Hmm.
South. Which city?
You know, we kind of
Almost
drift.
all of them.
We're in a collect area
Ah,
where employers will be coming most likely at first light tomorrow.
he said, "Okay." He said, "Well, as you were, we don't want any trouble here. We're out making patrols because there's been some unfortunate events within Brian Shander, and unfortunately for you folk, considering you're new, that's not going to make any of the people of the city very, neighborly. Just understand that we've had some problems. So,
Oh,
We understand our employers may be very interested in maybe helping you in that endeavor.
and he said, well, if that's the case, they should see myself or Hlen, and we'll go through and maybe conduct business tomorrow then.
We'll be sure to send them your way.
Okay. He says, well, if you're good, if you're off to the end, then go ahead and go. Just don't make any trouble. Thanks. And he starts walking past. He's doing some kind of patrol, it looks like.
Does he have a snowpath left behind from where he came from and is going? That kind of
He,
stuff. Can we
he
tell
does.
like the path?
No, he does have a snow path, and it looks like he was making some kind of larger perimeter circle. So, for instance, I'll show it to you. So outside, he interrupted you guys right here when it catches up, and you can tell that he was walking over here in this direction, and it curves off into that. So he must be like doing a large circle. So anyway, so the bartender starts walking to the back here, and he knocks on the door in the back, and basically does like this rhythmic knock. And finally, after like 10 minutes, an older woman answers the door, and she says, "What? Come on!" She said, "Well, it's late. What's going on?" And he explains your situation. He explains that you guys need lodging. She's kind of like not very hospitable. She says, She says, show me that you have coin first before I open the door."
I opened my bag of 400 golds.
She says, that's enough. She said, okay. She said, come in.
They are coming.
thank you.
All right. So you guys do come in. This part looks very similar to the other part. It looks like it's just like in a tavern, basically, a little more nondescript. It's completely empty, but some of the things around it's got some tables and some other stuff. But other than that, there is basically a stairway that goes all the way up into the next room, and there's several different rooms going through it. And she says, "So, how many rooms are you going to need?" She said, "It's 2 gold a night, and I'm not here to haggle."
What's the largest room you have?
I'm gonna,
She said, "Well, I have a room that sleeps 5. That's the largest." Said it's not the nicest, but if that's what you want, she said, I can certainly let you stay there. But again, I'm not haggling on the price.
that's fine. I drop 10 gold.
Okay.
Oh,
She says, "Oh, this." She said, "Thank you so much, kind sir." She said, "I'll give you 2 rooms if you need them for this price."
That price is for your silence. Our employers will appreciate it when they arrive tomorrow.
and would you be able to
Exactly.
tell us a little bit about the more we got a warning coming in that there's been some dangerous.
Oh, she said, "Yes, it's a damned serial killer. There's some person going around killing people, stabbing them in the back, stabbing them with. You'd have to go talk to either the sheriff or potentially like one of those one of those silly shield dwarfs that are walking around town trying to deal with the situation. She said, but she said it's not right that all of a sudden, with everything going on, with the fact that it's bitter cold now, it's winter all the time here, that now we have a serial killer on the loose. She said it's just not right.
We'll be sure to keep our room locked tonight. Thank you for the warning.
She said, "Yep, you're welcome."
What sort of murder wounds did they have?
She said, "Well, she said I'm not really, I don't really get into that kind of stuff, but I've heard some rumors." She said, she said, she said, I don't want to scare you all, but I'll tell you this because just in case, and I don't know if this is just like nonsense, but they say that they have swords sticking out, piercing through their hearts, and it's always the same looking sword made out of ice. She said it seems just bizarre and not. It seems like it's made up. I mean, yes, we're in this area with lots of snow and ice. I get it, but really, a sword or dagger made out of ice? It seems ridiculous. He said, however, he said, that's not the worst thing that's been going on. He said the sacrifices are by far worse than that. She said, I did hear a rumor though. I heard that the reason why I heard it wasn't really a serial killer. I heard what was happening is the people that were skirting the lottery were getting taken out by a real herself.
The lottery?
Sacrifices and lottery? Please explain more.
She said, you folk really aren't from here, are you? She said, well, she said it started around a year ago. Basically, folks started realizing that winter wasn't ever going to end. So, they're good people, I tell you, but they did what all good people would do, and they started trying to make solutions because people are dying, children are dying, people cannot feed their families, they can't, the fishing is getting harder. So, anyway, long story short, the towns got together. By the way, Bryn Shander, we are a civilized town. We do not do this, but others not so much, and they started doing a lottery. And well, it can be anyone. Women, children, men, everyone has to join, and whoever a real chooses in the lottery has to be taken. It's not pretty, she said. So, I really shouldn't be telling you as outsiders. I don't want you to think weird of us. I've heard that people from the sophisticated places like Neverwinter and all those other fancy places wouldn't really understand, but here it's tough. And so to sacrifice. So long story short, we tie someone up on a pole, we douse them with water, and we let them freeze to death overnight.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Neverwinter is full of creeps too.
She said, but here's the thing. It turns out, the rumor I heard is that some of those people escape. When they win the lottery, they leave. And they basically skirt town, or they go to one of the other towns. And sure enough, it seems like the people that have ended up dead might have been on that lottery.
Doesn't seem very fair.
It's a rumor. You never know, she said. But anyway, here's the keys to your room. And she said, breakfast is served at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have a full house tonight, so just keep that in mind. No loud talking or partying or anything like that. You can go up to your room.
Oh, just one question.
Yep.
You haven't seen a dragonborn pass through here in the last few days, have you?
She said, I haven't, but I would maybe go to the tavern or someone else. I mean, he would stick out for sure. We don't see a bunch of dragonborn, but I haven't seen him at this town.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. You guys want to head up and go to bed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys head up, you go to bed, and we will end it there. And then starting up, this will be the very, very beginning, the very, very, very first part of the campaign.
Okay.
Coming in, you'll be like basically going through the hooks, but then starting the campaign for real. So very exciting for me.
Yeah.
Yes, you absolutely have to be in the books for the 8 hours. Well, I mean, if you, it depends because you need that spell book to level, so no. Like it would be part of your leveling process, like learning new spells and stuff and going through it. You definitely need the spell book.
Could I go into the book with her?
Yes, you can do that. Yep.
Then, while she's doing that, I'll try to record spells while she's doing her training.
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. That's totally fine.
Oh, I mean, I'll welcome anyone who wants to see mine. Although I need extra time by myself in my book. But if anyone wants to pop in mine for a second, Johnny, I know I promised you.
Yep.
I may take you up on that offer later, but right now I need to have some time with Henri. So
Okay. Gross.
Great.
I need some time to
Guys.
copy and cheat off your book.
Guys,
Better?
brother's watching. Brother's watching you. He's right there. He doesn't sleep.
And also the test to see how closely related we are. So
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Before I jump into my book, I'm gonna pull Abel aside and ask him about the questions for the Modron. Also, you said it was changed?
Yeah, let's resolve that first since you did ask those.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah. Did that happen, or is that supposed to happen now?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So technically, there wasn't Abel didn't get a chance to ask it the questions before he changed it. So, you do have one question you can ask it, Abel. But we did go through some of that in the beginning because I just assumed that would happen. So unfortunately, I'll have to retcon some of that. But
Okay, whatever the first one was, then basically, I had an order there, so.
but that's the thing. You can now tell everyone in the group like you only have one question. So that I think
I will.
I think that's
will.
fair. Yeah. So whatever question you guys want to ask it, you can.
It's changed right now. I can only ask him one question a day. He might be more useful now, but he can only ask one question. I can maybe make him be able to ask more, but I gotta look into that. But right now I can only do one question, and I know we discussed some, but unless there's something more important.
Well, I'll defer to the opinion of the group. So the ones that I had asked Abel about were, what color dragonborn was I related to? What was my name given to me at birth? Who hired Jarlaxle to spy on the Torchbearers? Where is Claudio Lestrade? Who betrayed the race of prismatic dragons? Tell me about the island of Vir, and who was the first group to exit Asarak's tomb?
All right, going back to the list that I had kind of reordered before, unless people are coming up with a new opinion now, I can tell you what one of them got answered already in the library. So, ow, sorry, cat bit me. The island of Vir seems to be the first one. Are we go with that?
Yeah, I would have asked about that. Just, I mean, unless anyone has other ones that they would, think would take precedence.
Yeah. Which one did you want to ask then?
So I asked about the island of Vir, and I think.
Okay. I didn't give you an answer for that one anyway, so that's perfect. Yep. Okay. All right. So the Modron. So you asked it the question. Go ahead and do your rolls. By the way, you have advantage on this. Yeah.
All right. And I actually get advantage, yay, because I slept.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, wrong place. Uh, 21.
All right. It says the island of Vir was an artificial island created after the fall of the Elven Empire. It's an area of highly concentrated magical energy with artifacts from ancient Elven societies. And it references this by saying that when the island was originally created, there were gold elves and moon elves and green elves. And it goes through and it lists every single elven race, some of them that you've never heard of. And then it goes through and it says the island is currently incredibly dangerous. However, and then as the question goes through to finish, the other version of the Modron breaks through. The one that actually has a sentient. And he says, "I can draw it on a map for you if you'd like to see where it's at."
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, I would like to hear the information as well, not just where it is.
Oh, he said. He said, "I'm sorry." He said, I thought it was my turn." He goes through to like try to get the information out of it, and he says, no, he's not able to recall it."
I just look at Abel confused. What just happened?
He can't reach out for information when he's like this, but he knows a lot and he's seen a lot. So we're going to get kind of different answers right now.
What do you mean different answers? What happened to it? I just turned the Modron. What? I mean,
I asked him for some personal knowledge about what was going on, and being asked what he saw instead of researching made him different. I think he can switch modes, but I need to explore that.
okay. You asked it about himself. What'd you ask?
I asked him if he saw anyone trying to scry on us.
Okay. I mean,
He said, "I did not."
did he ask you like
He
your
didn't.
name?
It's true.
Do you have a
He
name?
said me, and I asked him if he'd like a name, but he didn't give me. Well, he didn't speak for himself. He's right here.
He said, "Hello, what's your name?"
I'm Kino.
He said, "Kino. What's your last name, Kino?"
Lestrade.
He said, "Kino Estrad." He said, "Nice to meet you."
What's your name?
Well, I'm Abel. I don't know you know that.
He said, "My name is Monodrone 7472. Thank you for asking."
And hearing that, I'll
And unless you like that,
across the
And he points at Abel. He says, "This is my creator."
not really. I think somebody else created you, but you know,
He found you. I mean, he fixed you.
He said, "Yes." He said, "But he is my creator."
Sure. There's no time to unpack all this. Let's go with that. Oh yeah, yeah.
it seems like I started that. Let's just say I'm a creator, okay?
Sure.
He points to Abel and he says, "Primus."
Primus.
I love Primus.
Do I know what that means in any
No,
context?
no,
Okay.
you'd have to ask him. Yeah.
Why am I Primus?
He said, Primus is my creator. You are my creator. Primus.
Okay. Can you call me Abel instead?
He said, yes, I can, Primus. Abel.
Thank you. Would you like to be called something other than Modron 7472?
He says, you can call me whatever you want to call me.
Did you have a name
Hmm.
before you were Modron 7472?
He said, before I was Modron 7472, I was a piece of Primus, a cog in an infinite machine.
We'll think about this. If there's a name you'd like later on, we can make that your name. There's no reason to rush such things. You were just created.
He said, yes, what's everyone's favorite color?
I've taken a shine to purple lately.
Green.
Red.
Blue.
He says,
Color?
He said, yes, color. He said, there are many, many, many colors. Organic people can see them.
Um,
Older slump.
He said,
Oh,
well,
come on, you never saw colors?
he said, my favorite color is Yanderol.
Yanderol.
He said, it's very distinct. He said, it's from, you can only see it on Netherese magic.
Really?
He said, it's a mix of all colors, and they fade slightly dim and slightly bright, but when you see it, you'll know it. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Netherese magic, I'm not in a rush to see. I mean, I want to see it, but it comes with, isn't there like complications there?
Oh, Abel. I got I got some leather if you're looking for something to do maybe tomorrow morning. I figured here I take off my armor
Mhm.
and I just pull out a big roll of leather. I was thinking maybe we could just reinforce the outside of the plate with some leather because it's going to be real cold, and you know when the metal's real cold, it kind of hurts.
Oh, yeah,
Stick
maybe
to it.
insulate the contacts with your body, probably.
Yeah, I think that'd be for the best. Also,
That would work.
I won't speak too much on it right now, but we got a little trinket that you'd probably find interesting.
I know, I heard, but I wanted to tell you guys about, well, this guy. So, um, well, what is it?
It's sort of a ring that has an enchantment on it that's broken. It's it's like you don't put it on. The last person that put it on died. They were electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
The Modron looks at it and he says, that's dangerous.
Do you know what it is?
He said, I know that it's broken. Abel, I can probably help you fix it.
I would like you to help me fix it.
He said, this will take several days and it will also take different components, but I will research them and we will work on it together and we can probably fix this.
I think I can fix everything, and maybe even faster. But yes, if he says
got a
several
lab partner.
days, maybe that's how long.
He says, "Yep." He said, "Yes, we can fix this together."
I'm happy you're so interested in doing this. I seem happy.
Yep. So, all right. This is another okay. So, Abel, are you genuine? Are you genuinely happy?
Yeah.
Okay, your character's genuinely happy. Okay.
Lee was saying Abel appears happy.
Okay, cool. So, one thing that happens is as you do this, as that feeling hits you, the Modron himself falls over, and his back opens up. And where are you guys at, by the way?
We're inside the room.
I'm standing right next to Abel.
So we were in our
You're in your room, right? The Modron literally falls on its back, and it opens up. Its back opens up. As its back opens up, it starts to slowly and basically, it starts to unfold and unfold and unfold and unfold and unfold itself, as if it's literally like transforming with its gears. It takes a little bit. It hits part of the bed, and then realizes that it has to shuffle the whole thing over until it's literally a 5-foot radius, like large circle, and it basically unfolds into an entire 5-foot circular workshop. Abel, you've never seen anything like this before. You didn't even think the Modron had enough metal to make this happen inside of it, but it certainly somehow did. Now, granted, it is very, very thin. Like the entire thing is thin, but it's sturdy enough to hold you. There's a chair in the center. It's absolutely sturdy enough to hold you within it, and it's basically this like very intense, technologically advanced, but it's all made out of like this coppery metal material workshop. There's tools you've never seen on it. You have no idea what this thing is, but it's very clearly some kind of workshop.
Wow.
Now this is now in the room with you. There is a clear area for you to sit down in the center of it, Abel.
I will cautiously try to step there without stepping on anything looking.
Yep. Yeah, you guys all see this. You see, like Abel, like he starts to sit down in the middle of this thing, and it starts to basically it starts to work immediately. First of all, what it does is it takes two long, where the Modron's arms used to be, they're like these two long spindle, like kind of like robotic hands that fasten what looks like a circlet on your head, Abel. And what it does is you're now able. You actually have true sight, just like the Monodrone had, except for this version of true sight allows you to see within magical items. You can see this because as you're looking around, you just happen to find like one, and now you see their inner workings. This is going to give you the ability, like as you start messing with this will give you the ability to not only potentially fix broken magical items, but this will also allow you to see the inner workings of certain magical items and make them even better.
Wow.
However, it's going to take you some time to learn how to do this. This must be another function of the Modron. And what you're going to have to do, and now that you have this device, one of the things you might be able to do is even use this device on itself to try to figure out the inner workings of how the Modron actually works. But this is one of the things now that this is another phase of the Modron.
Wow.
Yeah. So Abel will have to take some time with this and go through it. But so Abel, give me a magic item that you want to actually really look at, and we'll see where you can get by next session.
I guess he just reach out with his mage hand towards the ring that they were mentioning, and
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So Abel, now the one really nice thing about this is that you can work all through the night on this, and you know this intrinnsically, it's going to still. So it's basically going to pump in these liquids if you allow it to through these syringes that will basically allow you to feel like you've had a full night's rest and it's healthy for you. You've checked it out yourself. You don't have to sleep. Now you can actually use this thing without sleeping and just tirelessly do work all night.
Yay!
Holy shit. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So you can now as you start doing this, if there are any side effects to this, if you use this every night, we'll certainly see. But everything that you've looked at so far says that it's healthy, and it does look like it's going to be healthy, at least in the short
So,
term. We'll have to see what happens every night, but yes.
Red Bull, Mountain Dew, or Monster?
Yeah. But now, keep in mind it does take up it's around 5 feet. It's fragile, very, very fragile. You do not want someone rushing in here with a mace or sword because they could probably rip through a lot of it because, again, it only had enough metal on the modron itself. Everything's a little spindly, whatever, but it's certainly sturdy enough to do everything you need to. So at the same time, you just know that you need to keep this thing where it is, protected, because you do not want damage to come through it. It'll certainly right now, the Maldron, you know this for sure. It's in the most vulnerable state it could ever be in. So you absolutely do not want something coming in here and like ripping this up.
Mm-hmm.
Now you'll just have to figure out also how to get it to transform back or whatever. But yeah,
Bring in, I just kind of like wave everyone away a step with the mage hand.
sure, yep. But you guys are looking at this too, and it honestly is a mechanical wonder. Like this thing is absolutely. The other thing that's nice that's really neat about this specific device is that there are certain end pieces that interact with the magical items when they go through it, and they have these tiny little crystals as if it's like the same kind of clockwork gems, and it looks incredibly beautiful, like the way that it's set up. So when it's actually interacting with the ring, for instance, there's all these little tiny like wirely spindle things that go through, and then there's all these crystals that start interacting with it, and then Abel has on that circlet these basically like almost like steampunk versions, like goggles come down where he can like zoom in infinitely into this thing to really see the inner workings of it, and like everything is going through and sparkling, and there's like small little like magical discharges as he's working. It's a very, very impressive piece of machinery. So, but yes, it makes a little bit of noise, so it's a little annoying for anyone trying to sleep next to you. But it's sleepable. You can sleep through it. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, so we will stop there, and then we will start up in the next session.
Cool.
All right.
Chris, stick around for 1 second. I got a few questions to ask you.
Sure, of course. Yeah. Yeah, if you want, we can go to secret. If
Yeah,
they're
that's probably for the best.
Before you do, Chris, I just want to remind you, you haven't told me what Evil Grin had that would now be in Grin's possession.
Oh yeah. Let me do that real quick here. I will tell you. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, Johnny. Unfortunately, so the way that works when you copy the spells, it's Arcana check, DC 10 plus the spell level. So yeah, it failed.
Yeah, I assumed with my 5 it failed. So, but I got the first one, and then when she hands me the necklace, I will take the scepter and touch it to it and see what happens.
Cool. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. All right, that's fine. And you're just touching the staff to it, right?
Yep. Seeing if the staff responds at all.
Yeah.
And then I'm also, if I get a chance, I'll look at, looking at the coins, I'll look at that amulet before I give it to Abel.
Yep. So you do touch the staff to it, by the way. It just lights up. It looks like it's categorizing it, but that's it.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep an eye on the little pieces
I'm
and puzzle
getting you.
stuff on there.
Yep.
Just to make notes.
Yeah, I'm getting you your magic item in a second, Grin.
At some point, when people start going into their books, I will ask the Modron if he can move into my book or how that happens.
Well, right. So just understand. Currently, right now, the Mojarn is transformed, and you have no way to get it back. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay.
I also just wanted to mention, Chris, that I'm leveling up. I'm swapping Grin's Storm Soul from sea to tundra, which gives
Okay,
me
that's
resistance
cool.
to cold, and I don't suffer the effects of
Yep.
extreme cold. I just want to make
It's
sure you
10
know.
It's 10 hit points, right?
I can give temp hit points to other people. Yeah, the important part is that resistance to cold.
Oh yeah, up in this definitely.
Like
Yeah,
3
so-
temporary hit points, so it's like nothing.
Yeah.
You know what? It adds up because it's everybody, or it's who you're near.
Everyone within 15 feet.
If you're a wizard, 3 temporary hit points is amazing.
That's 50% more hit points for Henri.
I'm sorry, 10 feet.
I wonder if
So-
that extends out to the pseudo dragon.
You have a so one of the things that you have is a stone that is like looks like it has like some kind of like crude looking orc face and orc blood. You have no idea what this thing does or anything, but it's just on you. You also have. Sorry, hold on. All right, here it is. Yeah, you have you also have a weapon of certain death on you that you didn't have before. I'm just going to give it to you because it's actually only a rare item. But basically, it is a magical greatsword, but it's not a +1 weapon or anything. Just when you damage a creature with an attack using this greatsword, the target can't regain hit points till the next start of your next turn.
Ooh, it's like chill touch.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But it does not encode any kind of bonus. It doesn't give you a +1 or anything. But it is a great sword with this thing on it. It is a magic item.
And the person I attack cannot regain hit points until their next turn.
The start of their next turn.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of the weapons that the other Grin had on him before he left. Yeah.
And this Grin hasn't lost anything, right?
Nope. No, thanks to whatever pact Johnny made or whatever happened there, he's got all his stuff on him.
You're welcome.
Don't say that yet.
You know,
Oh,
you
boy.
guys keep doubting it, but so far I have come in clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Johnny, you would have told him that, by the way. That shouldn't. That was discussed. But yeah, you guys would clearly know. At least Johnny would have